Okay, yeah, we seem to be fine now. Good evening, members. Welcome to this multi-locational meeting of Council being held in the chamber at Penarthur House and via Microsoft Teams on Tuesday, the 11th of December 2025. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded and will be made available to view via the Council's website, except for discussions involved confidential or exempt items. Therefore, the images and audio of those individuals present and or speaking will be publicly available to all via the recording on the Council's website at www.caerphilly.gov.uk. If members lose connection during the live meeting, please make every attempt to reconnect. However, the meeting will continue as long as it remains correct. Democratic Services staff are available and will be able to assist you to reconnect if necessary. I wish to also remind everyone that as presiding member, I have the discretion to terminate or suspend the meeting and the live stream if, in my opinion, continue to do so would prejudice the proceedings or that in continuing might infringe the rights of any individual. As presiding member, I also have the right to remove persons from the remote and physical meeting if that is necessary. All members that are joining us remotely should have already checked their headphones, microphones and IT equipment before the meeting commenced. Members joining us in the chamber are asked to be respectful and considerate to those joining remotely. All requests to speak will be taken by using the hands up function on Teams in strict order of indication, so I ask that you please be patient. I wish to remind members and officers joining remotely to ensure that microphones have been muted. Cameras should be left on unless you experience connection issues. Members joining remotely will need to unmute their microphones when I call on you to speak. Members attending physically should use the chamber microphones. Votes will be taken using Microsoft Forms. When a vote is required, the monitoring officer will direct members to their laptops where Teams will display on an on-screen pop-up box, and members will then be asked to click on for, against or abstain and then click on submit vote. The names and votes cast will be recorded and published to our website following the meeting. There are no planned fire drills this evening. If the fire alarm sounds, please make your way to the fire exit at the rear of the chamber and follow the Caerphilly Council staff. If you consider yourself to have a disability, please ensure that this is known by council staff in attendance. Thank you. Before we proceed with the main agenda, it's the first council meeting we've had since the sad passing of Evan David. I mean, a great loss to the Caerphilly community, and I'm sure everybody agree with that. So I'm going to ask for a minute silence, which I will follow with another minute silence as is Armistice Day. So if we're all happy, we'll have a minute for Evan and a minute for Armistice Day. If you would please stand, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Agenda item 1, to receive apologies for absence. Members, apologies for absence are detailed within the meeting chart. If members are aware of any apologies not listed, please add them to the chart and notify Democratic Services. Item 2, declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and/or prejudicial interest in respect of any item on business in this agenda in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution, and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Are there any declarations of interest? Councillor Etheridge.
I've sought advice from the monitoring officer, and I will be declaring a prejudicial interest on item 8, the Licensing Act. I won't be leaving the chamber, but I won't be voting. On the item regarding the Standards Committee, it's a personal and prejudicial interest at number 15, and I will be leaving the chamber. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thanks, Councillor Etheridge. Just for clarity, on the licensing application, the licensing policy, on the licensing report, as your interest is only personal, you may stay in the chamber and you may vote and take a full part in the debate. Okay, thank you.
Okay, then we move on to item 3, presentation of awards. Members, we have several awards to present this evening. Councillor Carol Andrews, as Cabinet Member for Education and Communities, would you please introduce our first award for this evening? Carol.
Thank you, Presiding Member. Every year, the Gwent Adult Community Learning Partnership holds an awards evening to recognise the hard work and dedication of the staff and learners. Each local authority presents awards for its own area, and I am pleased to announce that the Caerphilly Adult Community Learning winners for this year are Learner of the Year, Belinda Grivett. Tutor of the Year, Elizabeth Millington. Learner Group of the Year is the Friday Pottery Group. Volunteer of the Year is Helen Millington. And Linda Bailey Howell Award is Sandra Palmer. Would you all please come forward so the members can recognise your incredible achievements? Thank you.
Okay, our second award this evening. Once again, Councillor Carol Andrews, would you please introduce our second award?
Thank you, Presiding Member. I'm delighted to announce that pupils from Fochrue Primary School took part in the Diversity Talent Awards and were awarded first place in the primary school section and overall runners-up across the whole programme. Guided by the school...
Carol, hang on a sec. Could you start again?
I will start again in a second, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Presiding Member. I am delighted to announce that pupils from Fochrue Primary School took part in the Diversity Talent Awards and were awarded first place in the primary school section and overall runners-up across the whole programme. Guided by the school's self-evaluation to develop enterprising creative contributors to the curriculum for Wales and apply skills across the curriculum, the pupils set out to develop their digital skills with a real sense of purpose. Working alongside national partners through the Diversity Project, the pupils took on an issue close to home, the problem of fly tipping in the Darren Valley. With imagination and determination, they designed a mobile app to help residents report incidents, supported by drone technology to monitor waste disposal. The pupils took a trip to the Swindon Institute of Technology to showcase their proposal, apprentice style, yet with no Alan Sugar in sight. The pupils from Vochrou Primary School stood shoulder to shoulder with much older pupils from secondary schools and colleges across the country. The pupils spoke with confidence, passion and maturity and received a glowing report from the judges. Vochrou Primary School were awarded first place primary school. In the event overall, taking into account the secondary schools and colleges, Vochrou Primary School came second place. This remarkable achievement is not only a credit to the pupils' creativity, resilience and teamwork, but also a shining example of the potential within our young people when they are given the chance to innovate. So with Kira Evans, Shayla Smith, Izzy Newell, Leo Pothecary, Caleb Lyons and Summer Ivy Challenger, please come forward, along with Gavin John, Deputy Head Teacher of Vochrou Primary School, and Graham Stonehage from Diversity Talent, in order that members can congratulate you all on your fantastic achievement. Thank you.
There we go. Big smiles.
Okay, thank you very much. Our final award for this evening, Councillor Nigel George as Cabinet Member for Corporate Services and Highways. Would you please introduce our final award this evening?
Thank you. It gives me great pleasure to announce that Fionn Davis, a Level 4 Construction Management Apprentice, has been honoured by the with the Vocational Award from the Worshipful Livery Company of Wales. This prestigious award celebrates young individuals in structured training who exemplify exceptional skills, dedication and meaningful contribution to Wales. Fiona's achievement is a testament to her hard work, professionalism and the bright future she represents for the construction industry in our region. On behalf of the Council, I extend our warmest congratulations to Fionn. We are all incredibly proud of her success. Fionn, would you please come forward in order that members can congratulate you on your fantastic achievement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go off agenda slightly here. Before we proceed, I would like to call on Councillor Charlotte Bishop, who would like to say a few words about, I nearly called him Councillor Lindsay Whittle then, but it's just simple Lindsay Whittle.
Thank you. And I didn't know he was going to be here tonight, so extra nerves. I'd like to take a moment to honour Councillor Lindsay Whittle. I know I'm doing it to him. A man whose name is synonymous with dedication, integrity and unwavering service to his county. For 49 years, nearly half a century, Lindsay gave his heart and soul to Caerphilly. He has worked tirelessly, not for recognition or applause, but because he truly believes in the power of public service to make lives better, strengthen communities and leave a lasting legacy. It's no surprise he's affectionately known as Mr. Caerphilly. And I know this nickname is more than a little niggling for him. But it's a symbol of trust, admiration and gratitude of the countless people whose lives he has touched. Few of us will ever know what it truly means to dedicate oneself so fully, to care so deeply, and to serve so selflessly. He's been a mentor, a friend, and a great leader, guiding generations of councillors, inspiring young people, and showing all of us what leadership rooted in heart, courage, and principle looks like. Even now, as a Senate member, he continues to fight for Caerphilly, ensuring our communities are heard and our values protected. Lindsay may be a little disappointed not to have reached 50 years on the council, but milestones can never measure the impact, inspiration, and legacy he leaves behind. His humour, his wisdom, and his steadfast belief in the power of community have left an undeniable mark on all of us. And we all love him dearly. Congratulations on your remarkable election results, Lindsay, and thank you for 49 extraordinary years of service. Unfortunately, you will always be our Mr. Caerphilly, a symbol of what it means to dedicate one's life to others and to lead with heart and inspiration. Presiding Officer, can I please ask everyone to join me in celebrating Councillor Lindsay Whittle, Mr. Caerphilly himself, a man whose life and service remind us all who we serve, why we care, and why we fight for the communities we love. In a round of applause, please.
I'd like to call on Councillor Kevin Etheridge.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. I'd like to have your permission, if possible, to call Councillor Whittle down to the front.
If you just carry on,
Okay, I got.
that'll be sorted now.
Okay, there's a gift here, and but I first met Councillor Whittle in 1999, and a very young man then, and a very young man now, and my biggest. I'd like to pay the biggest tribute to Lindsay was when Plaid Cymru took control of the council, and he actually made my mentor, Angus Donaldson, some of you will remember Angus, he made him mayor of the local authority, and Angus was so proud that Lindsay had actually made him mayor. And from then on, forget politics, Councillor Whittle have worked and worked and worked for his community, and he's worked 100%. And I feel that everyone in this chamber, whatever political party, owes him a gratitude of debt to that. And Lindsay did say that he's nearly finished, Mr. Presiding Officer. He was well pleased with the result in the Senate, and it was better than scoring a try against New Zealand. So what I did this morning, I actually went and got a Welsh rugby ball for Councillor Whittle. And I did look for a train because he wants the passenger line open, I think, to Nelson. But I couldn't find a train, so I found him a dustbin cart. So I'd like to present Councillor Whittle with the Dragon, which is the Welsh rugby ball, if he ever scores a try against New Zealand. And as a token of our gratitude for his office in the Senate, a green dustbin cart.
Okay. I'll be calling Lindsay down now shortly. So
Shall I leave it with you then?
well, if you like, yeah, I can pass it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Oops. 49 years ago, he must have been still in primary school when he was first elected. I'd like to call on the Deputy Leader, Jamie Pritchard, please.
Well, long backyard eye, Lindsay. 49 years, not out. I don't think there's anybody in the chamber who's going to reach that, although I think the late Harry Andrews did get to about 49 or 50. It was a fantastic achievement, Lindsay. 49 years on the council is just an inordinate amount of time. You clearly haven't finished. You're down the Senedd representing the Caerphilly constituency. You'll know that that we spoke on the phone recently, and thank you for giving me a call. Obviously, I'm very keen to work with Senedd members from Labour and Plaid Cymru and whoever else may come in, because it's important for us here in Caerphilly County Borough that we've got effective working relationships with elected members all across the chamber and indeed in the Senedd or in Parliament, whoever you represent. So congratulations, Lindsay. It was a fantastic election victory for yourselves, and I'm sure your colleagues are very, very proud of you, and we look forward to working closely with you over the coming months and years ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, before I call Lindsay down, Councillor Colin Mann, would like to come in.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I won't add to, I won't try to duplicate what has been said, but I was elected onto Micklemorgan Council at the same time as Lindsay. It seems to be a while ago now. But Lindsay was actually a councillor for a year before that on Rumney Valley Council, I believe. So the last 3 weeks, is the first time I've known Lindsay as not to be a councillor. And it's an amazing achievement. The position of Plaid in his ward and further afield bears a lot to the work that he's done, not only in the ward, but actually outside the ward. Again, I think before we do anything else, again, we should remember the reason for the by-election. Lindsay did this in his acceptance speech, and it was a tragic set of circumstances. And I think Hevin's family will be in all our thoughts at this time. Just to say that now it's Mr. Whittle MS. He's got 6 months to change the Senedd. I'm not sure if he'll do it in that time, but maybe he'll get a bit longer than that. Thank you, Presiding Officer.
Okay, then. With that, I'm going to really go off script here, and something I don't think we've done before. But I'd like to call Lindsay Whittle, MS, down to the lectern here, please. Just, I think he'd like to say a few thank yous. As you come past here, I'm going to lob this to you and see if he would have scored that try. I mean, I've never seen Wales beat New Zealand. That is something, my bucket list. It's off, Kevin, right? Oh, and you're...
Presiding Officer, Madam Mayor, I was going to say fellow councillors, but I can't say that any longer. But we're not on. No, sorry, I've forgotten already. Yeah, sorry, I'll start again then. Presiding Officer, Madam Mayor, and I will say fellow councillors, why not? First of all, I too would like to pay tribute to Hevin David because his loss to politics in this valley was felt by absolutely everyone. And I can assure you, if you could see my inbox in the Senedd, the number of people who thought so highly of Hevin is absolutely immense. And they will be big shoes to fill indeed. And I don't think I will fill them, but I will, as I said at the count, I will certainly walk in the same direction. And I have to say that naturally I was pleased to win the election because I wanted that at least to be Hevin's legacy, not the result that many people thought was going to be Hevin's legacy. But the people of Caerphilly decide, and I'm very proud of the way they decided. 49 years and 7 months, I'm really cross that I have to leave local government because it has been an honour and a privilege to serve as the councillor for Penrhowd, Tregennydd and Enniglyn community, where I was born, brought up and raised. And I have to thank the residents of that ward in particular for their continued loyalty over generations, literally. Can I say to every councillor and to all of the officers present in this room, I will continue to fight for local government. If local government is successful in Wales, then it reaches every single corner of Wales. And that's what it's all about. And it reaches individuals' everyday lives. And if any of us forget that, then we shouldn't be in politics anyway. And that's what I will continue to strive for. You will all be very welcome to visit at the Senedd if you wish. I would welcome you with open arms. Any organisations that you care to bring along, again, we can help you with. And please rest assured, I have literally, as I said before, if you cut me in half, I have Caerphilly, and that is the whole county borough council written right through me. It will always be my passion to serve my community, because that's where we all belong. We are a community of communities, and we come together, and that unity is our strength. So I would like to just thank you very much. Thank you, Kevin, for the rugby ball. I think we need it. I just hope that maybe we can score the winning try against Japan on Saturday. I don't know, and I don't know about the Descartes, but we'll take that anyway. But thank you all very much, and despite differences in the past, you are still all my friends. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You are, take care.
I hope it doesn't start, Kevin. Right, you're okay. Thank you. I shake everyone's hand. I can't do you all, but sorry. Hey, good luck, and you know where I am. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Sean.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move on. Item 4, council held on the 1st of July 2025. Members, we will take these minutes for accuracy, and then I will ask for someone to move and second them as a true account. Council held on the 1st of July 2025 for accuracy, pages 1 to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any comments?
Move
Council-
the minutes.
Any comments first?
Nope.
No. So we got a move and we got a second. Okay then, do you want to go through to the vote?
Thank you, presiding member. Members, the first vote of the evening, you will have a poll before you any moment. Could you please cast your vote on the accuracy of those minutes, please? And as expected, presiding member, the minutes, the accuracy of minutes is comfortably carried. Thank you.
Okay then, we're going to the next. I lost my place, right. To elect a leader of council and to note the payment of a senior salary. Councillor Denver Priest, I understand you will move the nomination of Councillor James Pritchard, the leader of council.
Yes, I will, Chair. Thank you.
And I think it was Marina. I think he was going to second. Okay,
Yeah, I'll
and been
second
moved and seconded. The debate is now in order. Members attend remotely and in the chamber. If you have any comments, please indicate now using the hands up button on Teams, and I will take speakers in strict order of indication. Thank you, members. Let's get that done with there. Nobody is indicating, so I will now call on Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote.
Thank you, members. Once again, on the poll in front of you, if you could please cast your vote on the election of the next leader of the council. The election of leader is a matter for the council, hence the request for you to vote, please. Thank you.
carried.
Councillor Johnson?
Yeah, 4. It's not coming up.
It's not coming up, is it? Okay.
4.
My apologies for that, but your vote will be noted. Councillor Angel? 4. That will be noted. Thank you very much. My apologies, it's not come up. Therefore, presiding member, the leader of the council is Councillor Jamie Pritchard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I'd like to go straight to the new leader of the council, Councillor Jamie Pritchard, for some announcements.
Presiding member, members, thank you very much for your support. That's the first thing. It's much appreciated, and of course, it's an honour to have been elected as the new leader of the council. It's of course a bit of a different journey from when I was sat down there 13 years ago, back in 2012, when I was first elected to the council. But I'm delighted, obviously, to be in this position now as the new leader of the council. It should be possible, I think, for the average man, woman or child in the street to lead the council. And I believe with the support offered, anybody should be able to get there. It's right this time that I thank my predecessor, Councillor Sean Morgan, for leading the authority between May 2022 and September of this year. Sean led the authority through difficult financial and challenging times, and as his deputy for nearly 3.5 years, I can say he gave his full commitment to the role. But I expect now he's enjoying a bit less stress and hassle, but I'm sure for myself in this role, that will come more to me now. So I'd like to turn to some of the changes in the Cabinet as a result of my election. I'd like to announce that both Councillor Carol Andrews and Councillor Shane Cook will share the title of Deputy Leader. Both Carol and Shane will be responsible for the Council's transformation programme, as well as their current roles. Both will split the payment for Deputy Leader, meaning there's no change to the overall salary that I was paid in this role. Both are dedicated, hard-working, and bring great ideas to the table. And in their new roles, I look forward to working with them very closely, as I have done for a number of years. I'd also like to announce that Councillor Amanda McConnell has joined the Cabinet. Welcome, Amanda. I've decided to create a Cabinet member with specific responsibility for climate change. It will be Councillor McConnell's responsibility to challenge and to drive our emissions downwards as we redouble our efforts to become net zero by 2030. Now that the Cabinet's been announced, some of you may have noticed for the first time Caerphilly County Borough Council has a female majority Cabinet. And I'm delighted that I'm the new leader who's helped to encourage a broad range of people to join the Cabinet to ensure that all voices are heard. I also understand that I'm the youngest leader in CCB's history, but I expect I will significantly age in the first few months in this role. I haven't always been involved in politics. I come from a manual labouring background, starting off in the steelworks for 3.5 years. And I think that's why I'm passionate about supporting people into employment, education and training, maybe partly as a result of my own experiences. But I want to encourage people of all educational backgrounds to believe they can become leader of the council in due course. So to set out about what I'll bring to this role, I have to firstly say how I don't wish to proceed. I'm not one for personal attacks, pointless arguments or challenge for challenge's sake. I believe there might have been arguments in this chamber before that perhaps have been over-exaggerated or overblown because that's how politics can get from time to time. There will be, of course, times where we disagree, and that is inevitable. But I want to try and bring a bit of consensus to proceedings, where we can agree, where we can work together. As I've said to Lindsay Whittle, MS, I want to work across party to try and get that going forward. Don't we all want a society with this investment in communities and one where we encourage and work towards providing good services to the public? Perhaps we are most closest on a sense of fair play, tolerance and treating people, regardless of their religion, race or colour, or of their skin, as equals. Over recent months, I have been disgusted by some of the activities of certain so-called politicians, seeking to divide our people and our communities rather than bring people together. This is not the kind of politics I want anything to do with. There is more that unites us than divides us. I won't be altering what I do on a local level in my own ward. The people of Morgan Jones have sent me 3 times since 2012, and I think that's because I've been quite active in the community, door knocking on a regular basis. So I will not be going back on that, even though I'm stepping into the leader's role, because it's important for any of us, regardless if we're the leader, or a cabinet member, backbencher, to be in the communities that we represent, because it is those people who send us here. What I want to stress is when I'm in the office, which is regular, my usual method is to sit down face-to-face with officers, members, residents and community groups to address those key issues. That's unlikely to change, as sometimes there's no shame of doing things the old-fashioned way. Face-to-face meetings and attendance in this chamber is something I've always done and I always will. I'm also going to do something that the leader of the council has never done before. I'll be hosting a regular question and answer session with the general public on key strategic issues the council is facing. I'll be asking residents to ask me the hard questions. Why are the reserves as high as they are? Why are you investing millions in new projects but other services are under pressure? Why is council tax the level what it is? What are we going to do to address waste issues? And what are we doing to tackle homelessness? These are some examples, but there will be many more. So I'll be answering residents' questions in a video format starting very soon. Engaging and communicating directly to residents is very important. I will also be a leader that lobbies and campaigns for a better financial settlement for the council, because over recent years we have had around 100 million taken out of the budget. Austerity is a failed concept. There is a rejection of austerity right across the country, and I believe things have gone too far. What we do need, and what I'll be pressing for, is an end to austerity. This will likely see me perhaps come into conflict with my own party on some occasions, but I am the new leader of Caerphilly County Borough Council, and it is to the people of Caerphilly County Borough Council that I must answer most to. I want a consistent and ongoing dialogue with our local MPs, MSs and council leaders, Welsh Government and UK Government going forward. I am, however, able to make a pledge to Council this evening on a major issue that has been impacting residents of the Upper Rumney Valley for a long time, and that is the A469. I've had urgent discussions with the Council to identify what is needed to deliver action as quickly as possible, so there will be a Cabinet report coming to us very soon that recommends an engineering solution to this long-standing problem. There will be a press release and video issued tomorrow from me, and I'm making sure on the first day as leader of Council, a clear message is given to getting this road done. I'd like to end by thanking Council for your support this evening, and I look forward to working with you all in the coming months ahead. Thank you, Presiding Member.
Okay, thank you, Leader. That's the first time. And I'd like to give you my congratulations as well and look forward to working with you. Item 6, to note the appointment of the leader of the main opposition group and the payment of a senior salary. Members, we note that Councillor Charlotte Bishop is the leader of the Plaid Cymru group. Charlotte, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I haven't got a speech for this one. I was slightly less nervous about this than the one for Lindsay. Just thank you, obviously, to the party, but I also want to echo a lot of what Jamie said about, boots on the ground, and ultimately we work for our communities. That's our job. They're our bosses. We can't really get away from that, and I wouldn't want to. And if I ever thought that I was beyond that, then there would no point in me be standing here today. I work for the people of Caerphilly. I work for the people of the Aber Valley. And ultimately, I will be encouraging everybody to do the same for their own wards and for the county to make it a better place for all of us. I am going to say a little bit about the climate we've just been through and the hate and the unfairness that we've seen. I think a lot of politicians, especially on social media, have tried to dehumanise some of our residents. And that angers me, because above all else, we are human. And I think the people of Caerphilly, and I'm very, very proud of the people of Caerphilly for seeing through that, guys, to gain power through dehumanisation and hatred. And it's something that I will forever agree with Jamie on and work very closely with him to ensure that we eradicate that. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Leader?
Well, I just want to echo Charlotte's words. She put it very eloquently. I referred some part of what she kind of said just then. It has been an awful period of time. The far right are on the rise. people are trying to divide us. And I think that members in this chamber, regardless if it's Labour, Plaid or Independent, have got to see through that, and we've got to work together on issues, because I have seen, as Charlotte's seen, as many people have seen, the rise of this hatred, and really it cannot continue. We've got to do everything that we can to stop it from happening. So I want to echo what Charlotte said and congratulate her as the first female leader of the main opposition. Again, that's a great step forward for yourself, Charlotte, and for Plaid Cymru generally. So thank you very much, and yeah, look forward to working closely with you.
Okay, I'd like to echo as well, congratulations. I don't know how much you'll be enjoying it this time next year, but we wait and see. And as Jamie said, well done and congratulations. Look forward to working with you. We'll move on to item 7, review of political balance. This is just a note, so I'll go to Councillor Nigel George to introduce.
In order to comply with statutory requirements to keep the political balance of the authority under review and to allocate seats on committees in accordance with that balance. A review of the political balance across the authority and the allocation of seats to the political groups following a change of membership in accordance with Section 15 of the Local Government and Housing Act 1989. To summarise, this report gives the political balance of the authority following a change in membership within the Labour political group, together with a vacant seat which has arisen as a result of a councillor being elected to the Senate at the recent by-election. It is recommended that the Council notes the political balance as outlined in Appendix 1 and that there has been no change to the general allocation of seats to the committees in accordance with that political balance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm being moved and not seconded because it's the note only. The debate is in order. Members attending remotely in the chamber, if you have any comments, please indicate using the hands up button on Teams, and I will take speakers in strict order of indication. Councillor Colin Mann.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. The report, of course, is out of date already. My understanding is that we now have a first Green Party member on the council. So I assume we'll be getting another report in the next full council. And to include the filling of the vacancy as well.
Yes, we will do that, Councillor Mann. It has been noted that Councillor Morgan is now a member of the Green Party, and yeah, we'll bring a report at the next meeting of Council. Thank you.
But as far as this agenda item is concerned, the recommendation is at 3.1 that the Council notes the political balance as outlined in the Appendix 1 and that there has been no change to the general allocation of seats to the committees in accordance with the political balance. Okay, and that's just for noting. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. Agenda item 8, Licensing Act 2003, review of statement of licensing policy. Councillor Philippa Leonard.
Thank you, Presiding Member. Good evening, members. This report presents the outcome of the statutory review of the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy as required under the Licensing Act 2003. The authority is required to review the Statement of Licensing Policy every 5 years. The current policy was published in January 2021. The Council must therefore review the current policy and, based upon the results of consultation undertaken, approve a revised policy for publication in January 2026. The revised policy reflects legislative updates, guidance issued by the Home Office, February 2025, and feedback received through a comprehensive consultation process involving responsible authorities, stakeholders, and the public. The Licensing and Gambling Committee considered the proposed revisions at its meeting on the 15th of September 2025 and endorsed the updated policy for Cabinet and Council approval. Key changes include an update on alcohol harm provided by Public Health, updated reference to licensing hours, promoting personal safety, promotion of safe space, Ask for Angela schemes, an update to role of the Home Office as responsible authority, reference to participation in pub watch schemes, reference to expectations of applicants, licence holders in respect of Martin's Law, updated reference to the designated premises survivor, updated reference to alcohol delivery, reference to shadow licences, reference to large-scale events, and update in respect of annual fees. The revised policy ensures the Council continues to meet its statutory obligations while promoting consistency, public protection and responsible licensing practices across the borough. Members are asked to approve the revised statement of licensing policy under the Licensing Act 2003 as set out in the recommendation in 3.1 of the report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Leonard. I'll go to the Chair of Licensing to second this report, Councillor Shane Williams.
Thank you very much, Chair. As Councillor Leonard has said, the Licensing and Gambling Committee have endorsed the revised changes to the report, and I'm happy to second this report.
Okay, thank you. Having been moved and seconded, the debate is now in order. Members attending remotely and in the chamber, if you have any comments, please indicate now using the answer button on Teams. And I will take speakers in strict order of indication. Councillor Greg Eade.
Thank you, Chair, presiding member. Just a quick question on the licensing report. With regard to Martin's Law, obviously it's very important with regard to terrorism measures and things, but I just wondered what advice and support the local authority would be providing to licence holders to enable them to comply with Martin's Law, because obviously it's quite an onerous thing to comply with. Thank you.
Okay, we've got the manager licensing in this evening, so do you want to reply?
Thank you, presiding member. Thank you, Councillor Reid. You'd be pleased to know that work has already started. We've done some work already with our contacts within the local police counter-terrorism unit. They've already visited the pub watches, which are in operation within the borough, the two pub watches in Caerphilly and Blackburn and Bargoed. They are regular visitors to meetings that we hold in the authority already, and we would aim to get the information contained within the new policy circulated to all licence holders in the borough. And if we have any questions, there is a fact sheet that will be circulated on the recent developments on Martin's Law that will go out to licence holders within the next fortnight, I would imagine.
Okay, diolch.
Okay. Nobody else is indicating, so the recommendations are at 3.1 that the Council consider and approve the revised statement of licensing policy and the Licensing Act 2003 as detailed within the Appendix 4. I will now call on Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote.
Thank you, presiding member. Members, if you could please cast your vote on the recommendations within the report on the poll that's before you now. If anybody's having any problems with voting, if you can let me know and I'll make a note of your vote. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Tranter.
Yes, Councillor.
Yes for me, please.
Yes for you. That's been noted. And thank you, Councillor Angel. That's been noted. Therefore, presiding member, the policy has been unanimously approved. Thank you.
Okay, we move on then to item 9, annual report of the Statutory Director of Social Services for 2024-25. Councillor Elaine Forrard.
Thank you, presiding member. This annual report, prepared by our Statutory Director for Social Services, provides a comprehensive overview of Caerphilly County Borough Council's social care performance, achievements and challenging during 2024-25 financial year. It is a statutory requirement under the Social Services and Wellbeing Act 2014 and serves to highlight the dedication and resilience of staff and carers across adults and children's services. Despite ongoing pressures such as increasing demand, complexity of needs and recruitment challenges, the Directorate has successfully met all service priorities. The report acknowledges the critical role of partnership working, particularly with the Nyren Bevan Health Board, Gwent Police, the National Probation Service and the third sector providers. Key developments include strong performance across services despite financial and staffing pressures, continued improvement in care provision and reduction in unmet care hours, positive inspection outcomes and increased compliments from service users, strategic progress on implementing a new social care IT system, preparations for a new annual report format aligned with the National Performance Improvement Framework. Looking ahead, the Directorate remains committed to delivering high-quality, person-centred services while navigating financial constraints and evolving policy requirements. This report is for noting only, but Mr Hartshorn is present to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, then I'd like to go to Councillor Teresa Aaron to second the report, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Presiding Member. I'm more than happy to second this.
Thank you. Can I call in Rob Hartshorn, please?
Yes, thank you, Presiding Member, and thank you, Councillor Forehead, for introducing the report. So, I'm pleased to be associated with this report. This is my first report as Statutory Director for Social Services. I do have some additional points that I wanted to highlight through the report, and that's that all service priorities for 24-25 were met, because this report relates to the financial year 2024-2025. There is strong performance across both children's services and adult services, despite, as Councillor Forehead has indicated, despite rising demand and the complexity of that demand. But we do get generally positive feedback from service users. There are a number of key achievements in adult services in terms of reduction of uncommissioned care hours, and across the year an average of just seven people waiting for care packages. In children's services, we've seen a slight reduction in children looked after, which is a positive position, and we have stable child protection register numbers as well. As mentioned, there are challenges in terms of fragility in the domiciliary care sector. We do have recruitment and retention issues, particularly in some parts of the service, and we continue to work to address that. So we do have a lot of our workforce have been with us for quite a long time, so we do have a stable core workforce, but we do have issues within social care in terms of retaining staff and filling all of our vacancies. And so looking forward, there are financial pressures for us, and we do have a lot of reliance on short-term grant funding. So obviously that brings with it an uncertainty in terms of how we're going to be resourced moving forward. Just some other key points to note that we've seen in 24-25, an expansion of our in-house residential care for children. So those of you that might have seen a few weeks ago might have seen the show and tell that presented in relation to our residential services and children's services, would have learnt and heard of some of the work that's being done there, some of the stories there. Our adult services are focused on hospital discharge and community support, so actually preventing people from going into hospital. Pleased to say that 50% of care leavers are engaged in education, training or employment. So despite the challenges that they face as care leavers and disadvantages, that is a positive position. We do provide support for carers through our shared life scheme and through carers groups. We've got continued efforts to recruit foster carers and social workers, and we provide supported accommodation for care leavers and adults with disabilities. In terms of safeguarding obviously underpins the services that we deliver, and we have strong governance via a corporate safeguarding board. We have a positive relationship, as demonstrated through the course of the year, with our regulator, so Care Inspectorate Wales. Care Inspectorate Wales are actually due into the local authority next week, but we have a good relationship with our regulator, and as Councillor Forehead has indicated, we're active with our partners and play an active role with partnerships across the region, and in particular the regional partnership board. So I'd just like to finish by actually thanking staff across social services for the warm welcome that I've received in the nearly six months that I've been in this role, and the passion and professionalism. Joe Williams and Gareth Jenkins, directors of adult services and children's services respectively, I know have joined the meeting online, but I know that they would share certainly a level of pride in terms of the professionalism, commitment dedication and enthusiasm that staff across social services have demonstrated during the course of 24-25, and certainly I've seen that in the time that I've been in post. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rob. The debate is now in order. Councillor Charlotte Bishop.
Thank you. Just congratulations. It's a massive improvement on the last report. Really encouraging. Really impressed with bringing the unfilled hours down from 500 and odd down to just 110 hours being unfilled care for adult services. Can I ask, firstly, what are we doing to fill them under 110? I do completely understand that retention in employment and getting people to work within care is very, very difficult. It was originally, when I left school at 16, this is what I did, and I worked my way up through education, so I do know how difficult it can be. Secondly, care leavers, 50% in employment or education. Do the other 50% make up a lot of our needs? That's it. Thank you.
Rob?
Thank you, Councillor, for those questions. So I think reduction in uncommissioned care hours is more about the way that we actually commission those hours, so that our preference would be that actually they are commissioned hours, and so we have managed to reduce the number of commissioned hours. So it's not that care isn't provided in those cases, but Joe Williams, the Director of Adult Services, I think has joined us online and might be able to assist a little further with that point. And then likewise, in terms of care leavers, perhaps I can ask if Gareth Jenkins, Director of Children's Services, could address that question.
Is Gareth or Joe online?
Yep, can I come in first? Jump in ahead of Gareth there. In terms of the care hours, Councillor Bishop, that's a snapshot on what we call Census Day. So although it's 110 hours that we haven't been able to commission at that time, on average now people are only waiting a couple of days. So the number of people is small and the time they're waiting is very small now. So it's really positive. There is significant increased capacity in the independent sector. We've seen a marked change in the number of providers that we have and the capacity that they have. So it is a very positive position to be in.
Okay, I'll come in then. Thank you, Councillor Bishop. The 50% that are not in education are therefore technically NEET. You're absolutely right. However, there are various reasons why those young people are unable to engage in employment or training. Some young people have significant vulnerabilities. Some young people have health issues, including emotional and mental health issues that will prevent them from working. Some of those young people will have not attained successfully in school previously, and some young people sadly are in criminal activities, a small percentage, I have to say. Similarly, there's a small percentage of those young people who have become parents themselves, so are unable to work. So that there's a variety of reasons. It's not straightforward, but yes, technically they're all considered to be NEET because they're not engaged in education, training or employment.
Just coming back quickly, I have absolutely no doubt that you're supporting these, Gareth. Could you please email me just to let me know how they're being supported and if there's anything we can do to help? Thank you.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay then, Councillor Kevin Etheridge.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Three questions, please, Mr. Hartshaw. The first one, Appendix 1, page 125. Staff recruitment and retention issues is a significant challenge, and Caerphilly is falling behind neighbourhood local authorities. Could I ask then, what are we doing about uplifting of salaries? That's the first. And the second question, if we go to page 128, I see there's been 202 complaints in regard to social services. Can you actually tell me, have we got an action plan, or what are we doing to actually reduce complaints? And the final point, I understand 14.69 days sick and most prevalent in social services and housing. And how are we handling that, please? Thank you.
Rob?
Okay, thank you, Councillor. So in terms of our retention issues and the reference there to salary scales, so it is just a matter of fact that a number of other local authorities have higher salaries than we do. As a consequence, we have responded to that by introducing a market supplement in a number of teams within social services, so where we've been able to demonstrate that we've advertised but been unable to recruit. We've introduced a market supplement. That's not an entirely satisfactory arrangement because it's not a part of the substantive pay and reward, and it is something that we keep under review. However, we have to recognise that social services is not the only service area that has a recruitment and retention issue, and we are operating within a pay and grading structure that has been agreed across the council. There are other aspects of working for Caerphilly, aside from salary, that I believe are attractive. So we do have good terms and conditions in terms of our annual leave. We do have a generous flexi-time scheme. We do have other attractive schemes for employees as well. A positive approach to agile working. And as I mentioned earlier, when I was talking to the report, we do have sort of a core base of staff who've actually worked with us and been with us for quite a long time. And there are plenty of instances where staff leave Caerphilly and go to where the grass is greener and then come back again. But you know, we recognise that it is a challenge for us. Another thing that we do is we do a lot of we invest quite a lot in learning and development so that we actually develop our own social workers, for example, which is another way that we're able to retain staff at least for a period of time when they're working through a learning agreement with us. Sorry, you also asked about sickness absence. Well, so the figures that are quoted relate to what was the former directorate, which is social services and housing. Obviously, we're in a different directorate now, but sickness absence levels within social services remain at a level which I would say is unsatisfactory. We do have a number of interventions in place to try and address that. So staff and managers and supervisors are trained in terms of the sickness absence policy. We work closely with HR colleagues to get people back into work and to follow the processes accordingly. It's something that we discuss in our management team meetings through the structure of the directorate. So sickness absence is a standing item in our team meetings where we review either overall levels or individual cases or long-term absences. So I believe that compared with last year, currently we've seen some improvement in terms of our sickness absence levels, but we still, we agree that we've got further to go. I'm sorry, Councillor, there was a third question.
It related. Shall I come in, because it relates to complaints, which sits within children's services for both adults and children's. Do you want me to answer, Rob?
Yes, please. Thanks, Gareth.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. The 220 complaints that you refer to, how can we reduce them? We don't necessarily want to reduce them. What we want to do, make sure that we do, is listen and make sure that we learn from any representations that are made. However, it's quite important to point out that of those 220, 193 were not upheld. And when certainly for children's services, I sign off every complaint response. And sometimes it is simply about people having the opportunity to vent their feelings independently and be listened to and have a good, robust response to that, giving them the information that they're asking for. So 193 of those were not upheld. Only 12, there were a number of other routes that some of those complaints followed, but 12 were upheld or partially upheld, which as a proportion is very low. So in that sense, it's quite difficult to think about how we might reduce it, because, as I say, we want to hear. Equally important to point out that we had 202 compliments, formal compliments from made by members of the public and made by service users directly, which is equally really important for us. Themes that emerge from it, as the report says, there are a few themes that keep coming up, which we continue to try and address. But as I say, it's really important that we listen and we learn and we give positive responses to requests that are made in that way. Is that helpful?
Okay, thank you, Gareth. We'll move on. Councillor Colin Mann.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I was looking at the... so first of all, I do recognise the all the positive points in here, but obviously we need to ask on the other side as well. And I was looking at the average of 7 people waiting for a care package at any one time. Now, we're all aware of the sometimes horrendous issues in hospitals with ambulance waiting times, and that is put down to delayed discharges or bed blocking, as a lot of people know it. Now, is this telling me that problem in the hospital is very little connected with what's happening in this borough? Because are those two things connected? Trying to understand that, because if there are only 7 people, I know 7 adds up, and 7 in all sorts of other areas. But it does seem a fairly small amount when you think of the issues that we keep being reminded of in the hospital sector.
Okay, who's going to answer that? Rob?
I think we see it as so the figure of being 7 on average is an extremely positive position to be in. But apologies, Councillor Mann, I wasn't sure exactly what the question was.
Rob, Joe is online, indicating to speak. Perhaps
Joe, okay, that's fine. Thank
Joe,
you.
do you want to come in?
Yeah, thank you very much. Councillor, the issue is when we are on Census Day, the 3rd Wednesday of every month, we code every delay for people in hospital. On the positive, an Iron Bevan region now, we are the best performing region in Wales. We had that feedback yesterday. Our delays for packages of care have reduced by 50% since last year. And bear in mind, this report covers last year. So it was finished at the end of March. And we code all the delays. On average, 50% of the delays are also due to problems in the health board. They're not all social care delays. It's just very much that the media links social care delays and packages of care delays to the wait for ambulances. So there's been a new initiative introduced now where all ambulance transfers have to be done within 45 minutes, which is having a positive impact on releasing those ambulances to go back out. So there are over 100 code reasons. Currently, we are seeing significant delays in Caerphilly for health professional assessments in hospital. That was our biggest delay last month. So yes, this reduction is tracked across to the Pathways of Care delay reporting. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, could I just clarify?
Yep.
So we're being told that a lot of these delays, in fact, are within the health service before they even present somebody to be accommodated within the borough. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so they would have delays waiting for nursing assessments, waiting for, say, physio or occupational therapy intervention, or certain tests, or continuing healthcare assessments. So there's a big plethora of delays which cover health, social care, individuals and their families who might be refusing to engage. There are also a series of codes for housing. So if people are homeless or in unsuitable accommodation requiring adaptations or equipment, there is a big series of delays codes. And there's also people that we are waiting who have to go to the Court of Protection, and we can't make any decisions about their onward care until we've had a legal decision. So it's a very complex picture, but yes, some people are delaying for health reasons, not social care reasons.
Okay.
Can I ask one more, Representative?
Right, last one.
It's back to the question that Councillor Etheridge. Back to the question that Councillor Etheridge posed earlier. It's the significant staffing vacancies. I'm wondering what service we are not providing because we haven't got the people to do it.
Rob?
Thank you, Councillor. So obviously we work extremely hard to address those gaps. So staff are working above and beyond to address some of those issues. We do have some reliance on agency staff when where appropriate to cover some of those vacancies. I can see that Joe has a hand up, so I don't know whether Joe can also offer some thoughts in relation to that.
Yeah, if I can come in. The biggest area of vacancies is within our domiciliary care and reablement service, which is why we are commissioning and able to commission more hours within the independent sector. So they are a high number of vacancies that we are unable to recruit to, but we are able to provide the service by commissioning it.
So the service is being provided by another...
Yeah, yes, the service is provided by the independent sector as opposed to in-house.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, quickly go to the Cabinet Member for Social Services.
Just to advise members that this is a national issue with retention and recruitment. Welsh Government are currently working on nationalising terms and conditions for social care staff, so that could possibly make a change.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Sean Morgan.
Thank you, Presiding Member. Could I, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you, Mr Hartshorn and Joe and Gareth on such an excellent report and honest about the challenges that you're facing. And I would like to give my thanks to all the astonishing and hard work that our social care staff undertake day by day on our behalf. Councillor Forehead mentioned in their introduction about a rollout of a new social care IT programme. And I understand that this is a joint an IT programme which all councils are to adopt, and the National Health Service is going to adopt it, so that there's a seamless communication and exchange of information between social services and the NHS. And we've just, Joe was just talking there about, delayed transfers of cares. It can be the NHS, it can be the council, and it can be miscommunication between the two. So could you tell me how that rollout of the IT programme is coming along? And more importantly, are all partners adopting that IT programme and at the same rate? Are we all working together on it? And will we achieve that seamless transition between the NHS and social care, which has so long been talked about? Thank you.
Rob?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Morgan. So you're referring to Mosaic, which is a replacement for a system that most local authorities use in Wales, which is WCIS. And Mosaic is being delivered as a national project, but there are regional footprints to that. So we have local, regional, and national structures, and we're working locally. We have an internal working group for the transition to Mosaic. We're working as a region, so there will be an instance of Mosaic in the Gwent region, and we've been working with other local authorities in the Gwent region to standardise, to map processes, to standardise processes. There's workshops around forms, etc. We do see a lot of opportunities through the adoption of the new system in terms of being more effective and more efficient, but the focus of this system is social care. So it's not intended and won't deliver that seamless ability of health and social care to talk to each other in the way that you describe. But it certainly is it's a significant project for social services in Wales, a significant transformation project. We do see some other opportunities further down the line once the system's up and running and linking the use of Mosaic with with the emerging work that we're doing in terms of use of AI as well, and that there might be further opportunities and the ability to work more effectively with the new system and with Mosaic as well. So the project is progressing well. So the timeline is good. The program is good. There's still a lot of work to be done, but colleagues and partners are working effectively together to make that project happen.
Okay.
So you're actually saying that here we are in 2025 and Wales as a whole is not working towards a single system that is workable between councils, social care systems, and the NHS in Wales.
So that's right. It won't provide. I think the kind of panacea that you're describing. It won't deliver that type of system.
Okay then, there's nobody else indicating, so the recommendation is council requested just to note the content of the annual report. Okay then, we'll move on to item 10. Public Services Ombudsman for Wales Annual Letter 2024-25, Councillor Nigel George.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to inform the Council of the publication of the Public Service Ombudsman for Wales Annual Letter for 2024-25 relating to Caerphilly County Borough Council. This report is presented in accordance with the Council's statutory duties under the Public Service Ombudsman Wales Act 2019. The annual letter addresses complaints, concerns, maladministration and service failures, as well as alleged breaches of the Code of Conduct. It also outlines the action being taken to improve the public services. The recommendation states that the Council is asked to consider and note the contents of the annual letter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. As Councillor George has said, this is to be noted, but the debate is in order, so if anybody want to make any comments, please indicate. Councillor Gregheed.
Thanks, Presiding Member. I just wanted to point out that the number of complaints is 78, but of those 24% relate to housing, which is a rise of 10% on last year. So I'm not sure if there's an officer present or the cabinet member could maybe answer what sort of action is being put in place to address the high number of complaints on housing that the Ombudsman has identified. Deal.
Any officers? Mark? Anybody? Marcus?
Thank you, Presiding Member. Thank you for the question, Councillor. Obviously, complaints are an issue that we need to deal with, and we are looking at them. But it is a learning exercise. Any complaint we receive is obviously something we can learn from. And we obviously don't want to receive complaints, but we need to balance those out with the compliments we receive as well. But there is action being taken across the board on complaints, and I'm actually got a report in my inbox on complaints at the moment, which is being reviewed, and I can give you a further update once I've reviewed that report. I'm quite happy to take that offline with you if you like.
Yeah, deal. Is that generally all complaints or that report specifically relating to housing?
I've got one specifically for housing.
Deal, but yeah, take it offline. Fantastic.
Okay then, nobody else indicating. As Councillor George said, Council asked to consider and note the contents of this annual letter. So we'll move on to item 11, Caerphilly County Borough Local Development Plan up to 2021. Annual Monitoring Report 2025, including the Annual Community Infrastructure Levy Report. Councillor Philippa Leonard.
Thank you, Presiding Member. The purpose of the Annual Monitoring Report is to monitor the effectiveness of the adopted LDP by assessing its key objectives as well as its 22 strategic policies, and some of the data presented gives an indication of the situation as regards some of these. Whilst the level of the house build has increased, it is not at the level required by the housing trajectory, and the development of land allocated for employment use remains very low. As a result, 2 strategic policies and 3 objectives have been identified as not being delivered as intended and require intervention. The 2 strategic policies are SP14, Total Housing Requirements, and SP15, Affordable Housing Target. The 3 objectives are Objective 9, concerning the provision of an adequate and appropriate range of suitable located housing sites. Objective 17, concerning the county borough's role as a commercial and employment centre. And Objective 18, concerning the provision and protection of employment land. While the LDP is being implemented successfully in overall terms, there remains a need to increase the housing land supply in short term. Also, there is a minimal take-up for employment-related and commercial development, as evidenced by the low level of permissions granted during the monitoring period. Therefore, these elements require intervention. This is not new and has been the case for successive AMRs for the last few years. The recommendations put forward are almost identical to those put forward in previous years AMRs, and are the most that can be done within the remit of the adopted LDP. The annual monitoring report acknowledges that the most fundamental way to address these issues is through the preparation of a new LDP, which of course is what we are working on at present. The Community Infrastructure Levy, CIL, element of the report is included for convenience as we have to publish this, but it makes sense to incorporate it as part of the AMR. The data presented here is a factual representation of what funds have been spent, raised and passed on to the community councils during the previous year and what remains available. To comply with the requirements of the Planning and Compulsory Purchase Act 2004, the LDP Wales Regulations 2005, the SEA Directive and the Community Infrastructure Levy Regulations 2010, and to comply with the recommendations set out in 3.1 of the report that Council considers and notes the findings of and approves the 2025 Annual Monitoring Report, and 3.2 of the recommendations that the 2025 Annual Monitoring Report includes the Annual Community Infrastructure Levy Report, be submitted to Welsh Government before the deadline of the 31st of October 2025. I so move. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will now go to Chair of Planning, Councillor Royce Rallis.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Presiding Member. I'm happy to second the report.
Okay, having been moved and seconded, the debate is now in order. Members attend remotely and in the chamber. If any have any comments, please indicate now using the answer button on Teams, and I will take speakers in strict order of indication. Councillor Judith Pritchard.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I've got 2 questions, and obviously we're weak in housing, and this is a consistent item really across the council. We've just heard about housing complaints. We have great problems housing our homeless people, and we need far more affordable houses. And I'm just wondering what the department are doing about helping landowners who have brownfield sites to get grants or to deal with land that they may have and they may be willing to put forward, but which is contaminated. There used to be a Welsh Government grant for contaminated land. I believe that ceased, but I think there may be some money available now. But in view of the seriousness of the housing shortage, I'm wondering whether the council could possibly step in, interview people who have, landowners who have actually put forward their brownfield sites for development, which have been taken out of the LDP consideration now because they've put them in before and they've not been developed. And one of the conditions of the LDP assessments is that the site has to be viable. So are we doing anything to assist these landowners who would provide housing with some form of council subsidy or grant that might help the situation? That's the first question. Shall we have an answer to that? And I've got another question.
So long, and if I fetch in Mark Williams and he can answer, and then I'll come back to you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Presiding Member. Thanks, Councillor Pritchard, for your question. I'll bring in Dave Lucas in a minute as well. But the contaminated land funding you referred to from Welsh Government no longer exists and hasn't existed for quite some time. There is funding available via Cardiff Capital Region or the CJC, this sort of stall sites fund for sites that are difficult to bring forward for development from a viability point of view because of, you know, a whole raft of reasons, contamination, topography, etc., etc. And there is a bidding process in terms of accessing that fund. So there is funding out there for developers to take advantage of if they want to. I don't know whether Dave wants to add anything in terms of our planning functions and bringing sites forward.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Councillor, for the question. In respect of that, yeah, we're very keen to bring forward brownfield sites. It's Planning Policy Wales requires us to look to brownfield sites first before we develop greenfield ones. The problem that we have, of course, is the vast majority of our brownfield land is actually outside our settlement limits, which makes it very difficult to develop. They're often contaminated, require remediation, and as you've quite rightly said yourself, we need to demonstrate that they're viable and deliverable to include them in the plan. So we have an inherent problem in respect of brownfield sites. We are looking to identify brownfield sites in the plan, and where they are viable and deliverable, we will include them as allocations in the emerging plan. I will add to one that Mark alluded there. There was also we were also successful in getting grant funding for one site in respect of the Housing Investment Fund from CCR. That was Windsor Colliery. And the money for that would assist in bringing that site forward, which they're currently working through now. So whilst there is money available, there's not a lot of it, and our brownfield sites as they currently stand do require a lot of investment to bring them forward if we're going to do that. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, Judith, do you want to carry on?
Thank you. Yes, the second question is about the LDP new timetable, because we were supposed to be having a plan for consultation in January, and members were going to have meetings with the officers in October, and then it was going to be November. But now I understand that the whole thing has been put off, and I'm wondering really when it's going to be put off to. There is a suggestion that it won't be ready for public consultation until after the Senedd elections in May. And this is difficult when one has, my ward has quite a lot of sites being considered. And obviously we've told our residents and people are constantly asking us, you know, well, what's happening? What's happening with the LDP? You told us that you'd be consulting us or telling us about progress in November, and that hasn't happened. Well, it can't happen because all we've got to tell them is nothing's happening. So have we got now a clear idea that the definitive plan for consultation will not be ready for public consultation until after the Senedd elections?
Dave? Mark, do you want to come in first?
Thank you, Presiding Member. Thank you, Councillor Pritchard. Yes, you are correct. The LDP, preparation of a new LDP will be delayed. Largely due to some of the stuff we've already touched on relating to the complexity of the sites that we have available for development. So they require quite a bit of work in terms of making sure they are viable to go in the plan. There's also quite a bit of work required for consultees on those sites. you know, whether that's highways, environmental health, NRW, etc., which makes the task more difficult. Obviously, we do need to be alive to pre-election periods. You know, we've just had one. We will have another substantial one now in the spring next year, followed by another substantial one the following year, the local government elections. So trying to fit all of this into that kind of jigsaw, we are in the process of drafting a new timeline for the LDP, but it will be delayed by a number of months. And I'll bring in Dave if he wants to add anything to that.
Thanks again, Mark. Yeah, Mark's quite right there. The amount of work that is required in terms of identifying to make sure that we have the right sites in the plan is quite exhaustive, not only for ourselves in the strategic planning team, but also in our service areas that provide their expertise and input into the process to make sure we got those sites correct. It's an iterative process that resulted in a lot of reissuing of information and submitting to us at a late date, which is basically the reason why we're having to delay the plan at this point in time, because of the scale of the work that's required, and getting our service areas to come back to us is quite a considerable task. In respect of the councillor's question, can I just reassure her that we're not cancelling anything? We are just postponing it for the time being. So the member seminars will take place, and they will take place in a timely manner as we progress the plan through to council and eventually towards deposit. We haven't got a formal timetable at the moment, and we'll be meeting again with Welsh Government in January to discuss potential options in terms of our timetable in respect of that. So we can't really confirm anything until we have done that. So I'm sorry I can't provide a timetable for you, but obviously, as Mark has said, the pre-election period is a key consideration in how we devise that timetable. And we'll advise members as soon as we are reasonably practical about the timetable for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay then. Councillor Dawn Ingram-Jones.
Thank you, Presiding Member. I just wanted to check if the recent Bargoed and Blackwood placemaking plans are considered when we're looking at the local development plan, because I noticed on Appendix 5, allocation monitoring, one of the areas identified within the Bargoed placemaking plan is down there as not developed, obviously, because it's planned for the future. Would we be seeing, I mean, there are other areas identified for affordable housing within those plans. Would they be included in the new LDP coming forward? And when could we see sort of some forward motion on them? Thanks.
Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Look, this happened last year when we brought this report forward, and I understand perhaps the confusion. This report is a factual look back. We're starting to get into debate about the new LDP. The Bargoed and Blackwood placemaking plans are future looking. This report is a factual report that we have to submit to Welsh Government every year. It's a look back. So the placemaking plans really have no bearing on the debate around this report tonight. I think we probably need to kind of park discussions about the new LDP. We just said that there's a delay, and this report is not about the new LDP at all. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Councillor Steve Skivens.
Thanks, Presiding Officer. I just wanted some clarity. Given the protracted nature of the development of the LDP, we have noted that certain candidate sites which have been problematic in the past and had some concerns are now being processed under planning applications. Is there greater consideration of some of those concerns if these are being shortcutted into planning applications?
Dave, Brian, I'm not letting you off, but if Dave want to come in.
Yeah, I can answer that one for you. In respect to that, any person can submit a planning application at any time for any site, irrespective of whether they're considering it for our plan or not. Obviously, if they submit a planning application, it will be considered against the adopted plan, not the plan that is emerging. So it will be against the adopted plan that we have and the policy framework that's set out in that. In respect of our deliberations in terms of our candidate sites that we have, they will be the concerns that are raised in respect of these will be taken into account as we move forward with those sites, but obviously we're operating under a different strategy in that respect. So the planning applications that are submitted on these sites will be considered against the plan that's currently extant, and that's the process that will be followed.
Okay. Thanks for that.
All right, then, Councillor Colin Mann.
Thanks, Presiding Officer. Two, if I may. One of the issues, as I understand it, is that we have a huge lack of accommodation for single persons, and that is often stopping somebody moving from a family home to make that family home more available to a family. But there doesn't seem to be any sort of effective way, apart from the authority or social providers building these, that we can actually make developers meet this sort of demand. Because obviously developers seem to be more interested in building 4 or 5 bedroom houses to make a bigger profit out of it. I don't know if there are any effective measures that can be taken. It may well have been taken in other places to try and address this situation.
Gentlemen?
Yes, thanks, Councillor, for that one. In respect of that, the policy framework for the emerging plan will look to try and reflect the local housing market assessment that the council has, which does identify a shortage of 1 and 2 bed units being delivered. And that will form part of that policy framework, but in what context we've yet to actually hammer out and work that one out. So that it is a consideration for the plan moving forward. Of course, in the previous plan, that wasn't isn't contained in the policy framework because the excuse me, the requirements from the LHMA have moved on. And so the current LHMA is identifying needs that weren't prevalent when the plan was adopted. So the existing plan doesn't address that. So we're limited in what we can do in terms of that. But in terms of moving forward, the emerging plan will look to try and address that.
Could I ask what the timescale is on that, Presiding?
The timescale on the emerging plan? Well, I just answered that one in respect we've had to push back, but we haven't got a timeline, which we'll need to discuss with Welsh Government in January.
Okay.
Okay, the other one, sorry, I need to get it back. It's on...
Put your mic on, please. Colin, you put your mic on.
Oh, sorry, I thought I put it on. It's on page 172. It's about the commercial vacancy rates, and there's only, as I read this, there's only Ystrad who are actually below a 10% vacancy rate, with Bargoed being over 20. Now, we're aware of the ongoing problems within the retail sector and town centres and so on. And apologies if I've missed this in the plan somewhere, but what are we actually doing to repurpose these properties? Because I think it's pretty certain that a lot of these properties that are not shops now will not be used as shops in the future, and we need to make sure that we don't have sort of ghost areas within our towns. I mean, for example, the north end of Bargoed, I think. Sorry, Dawn, but the north end of Bargoed is a good example of a whole row of places which I think most of which are just not being used.
Mark.
Yeah, thanks, President Member. Thanks, Councillor Mann. Those challenges are the very reason we've got police making plans for towns like Bargoed, Blackwood, Caerphilly. The changing our town centre offer, changing the nature of those town centres is an integral part of those police plans moving forward. So again, this report is historical. It's about the extant LDP. We can't change what that is. It is what it is. We report on it annually. But moving forward, the new LDP will take account of those place plans.
Okay, Leader.
Yeah, thanks, Presiding Member. Just in answer to Councillor Mann, obviously we've got the Bargoed and Blackwood placemaking on the books now from the 1st of July this year. In fact, it was the last council meeting, and it was several months ago now since we met last. You know, that's in operation. We've got a 10-year regeneration plan which recently came through council. Prior to that, we're also implementing meanwhile use spaces in Bargoed, looking at Blackwood as well in terms of the new loan that we've had. So we are trying to do as much as we possibly can, and in the regeneration plan going forward, we're looking at mini placemaking plans for smaller areas, not just our larger town centres. Blackwood does have a higher occupancy or under occupancy rate than most other towns, which we're trying whatever we can. It's a very challenging environment out there, but we are in constant conversations with Welsh Government officials, with Welsh Government Cabinet Secretaries as well, and we will continue to try and do whatever we can to promote our town centres through the events programme as well, as much as we possibly can. Thank you, Presiding Member.
Okay, thank you. There's nobody else indicating. Councillor Leonard, would you like to come back in to close the debate?
No, that's fine, thank you.
Okay then, we'll move on to the recommendations. 3.1, that council considers and notes the findings of and approves the 2025 annual monitoring report. 3.2, that the 2025 annual monitoring report, including the annual community infrastructure levy report, be submitted to Welsh Government before the deadline of the 31st of October 2025. Mr. Tranter, takes to the vote, please.
Thanks, Presiding Member. Members, could you please cast your vote on the two recommendations contained within the report? Anybody having any trouble, please let me know. And the annual monitoring report has been comfortably carried.
Okay then.
So,
Councillor Pritchard.
4. Thank you. That will be noted. Thank you, Councillor Pritchard. Thank you.
Item 12, provisional revenue budget outturn for 2024-25. Councillor Leonard Stenner.
Thank you, Presiding Member. The purpose of the report is to provide Council with details of the provisional revenue budget outturn for the 24-25 financial year, prior to the completion of the annual external audit of the accounts by Audit Wales. Appendix A of the report summarises the outturn position. The General Fund is reporting a net overall underspend of just over £6.3 million. However, it should be noted that this is largely due to a one-off grant received from Welsh Government in the last quarter of the year in recognition of ongoing cost pressures. The housing revenue account reported a £5.3 million underspend, and schools reported a £3.3 million overspend. These variances will be ring-fenced to the HRA and school reserves. The £6.3 million transferred into the general fund balance is an increase of just over £6.3 million on the assumed transfer of £57,000 as at period 9. The net service directorate and miscellaneous finance position was an overspend of £45,000. The surplus has been achieved due to one-off grant funding announced by Welsh Government in December 24 and March 25 and the council tax surplus. Whilst the increase in one-off additional funding is welcome, it needs to be considered in the wider context of the extremely challenging financial position facing the council. The almost balanced service directorate and miscellaneous finance position was achieved by offsetting significant in-year overspends on home-to-school transport and temporary accommodation by implementing in-year spend controls and vacancy management measures, maximising grant and income funding and early delivery of some of the approved 25-26 saving proposals. All underspends will be reviewed in detail to determine whether they are one-off or reoccurring, and to ensure that reoccurring savings have been captured into the 25-26 budget, or determine whether they can support the budget setting process moving forward. The schools in year spend is ring fence. Consequently, school balances have reduced from 5.3 million to 1.97 million as of the 31st of March 25. At the end of the 23-24 financial year, there were 15 primary schools with a collective deficit of £559,000 and 6 secondary schools with a collective deficit of £2.9 million. As of the 31st of March 25, there are 18 primary schools with a collective deficit of £1,035,000 and 9 secondary schools with a collective deficit of £5.3 million. This will need to be kept under close review during the 25-26 financial year, with a number of schools setting budgets, deficit budgets, which will be underpinned by recovery plans. This challenging position informs the recommended proposals for the surplus general fund. The table in Appendix D of the report shows the movement on the general fund balance from the 1st of April 24 to the 31st of March 25, along with the agreed commitments for 25-26 and an assumed contribution of £1,050,000 to support the revenue budget for 26-27. There is currently a projected balance of £19.6 million on the general fund, and Council will recall that it is usually recommended by the Section 151 officer that the minimum balance should be 3% of the Council's net revenue budget, which equates to £14.329 million for the 25-26 financial year. This means that there is a projected surplus general fund balance of £5.277 million, and proposals for the use of this surplus balance are set out in section 5.9 of the report. I'm happy to move the recommendations as detailed in paragraphs 3.1.1 to 3.1.3 of the report, and Council is asked to note the provisional 24-25 revenue budget outturn position, approve the recommendation to maintain the general fund balance at £14.329 million, representing 3% of the 25-26 net revenue budget, and approve the proposed use of the surplus general fund balances totalling £5.277 million as detailed in section 5.9 of the report. I move.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Stenner. Councillor Mike Adams, and the son who will second this report.
Yes, presiding member, I'm happy to second this report.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Adams. Having been moved and seconded, the debate is now in order. Members attending remotely and in the chamber, you have any comments, please indicate now using the hands up button on Teams, and I will take speakers in strict order of indication. As Kevin puts his hand up and Colin puts his hand up. Kevin first, then Colin.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. I refer to the report, page 261, 5.4, Economy and Environment, and the underspend. So that's actually in the report. Always been told that you can speak to the report, and now I would like to move a motion. As you all know, Newport Council have deferred their car parking charges for the festive period. Okay, you can all moan and you can
Kevin,
sigh.
Kevin, just carry on.
Okay, I got a 2,500 in petition, which I'll discuss afterwards. My residents, and I believe all the residents in the town centres, and this is not about Blackwood, this is about all the town centres and all the high streets. The underspend in there, I believe, should be used for the festive period to defer the charges from the 17th of November until the 5th of January 26 within the town centres. The leader has said he wants to promote our town centres. investment in communities, answerable to people of the whole of Caerphilly Council. Surely, Mr. Presiding Officer, it's not too much to ask from the 17th of November until the 5th of January that car parking charges in all the towns be suspended because of the festive period. I'd like a second of the motion, and I would like a recorded vote if I get the numbers. Thank you.
No, I haven't asked yet. Is there a second there?
I will second that.
It will be a recorded vote anyway, as you already know.
Presiding Officer, I'll second that, Councillor James.
3.14.
Right. I will come back to you at the end of the
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, there is nobody else indicating using the hands up function on Teams. Sorry, I apologise, Colin, you did, Councillor Mann. I'll come back at the end of the debate. Well, carry on.
Yeah, it was the miscellaneous finance, which is mentioned quite a bit in here. It's about the miscellaneous finance, which, as we know, is mentioned quite a bit in here. And we were facing an overspend, as reported to the last scrutiny committee. It does seem that Welsh Government have found some money. I assume it's money that they managed to get rid of quickly before it had to go back to the UK Treasury. That's what usually happens. But is this something that's gone to all authorities? I mean, obviously, it's a nice little windfall, and it's helped to bail out this authority. Do we know if this has actually gone more generally than ourselves?
Dida, did you indicate that? No? Mark? Leanne?
Yeah, Welsh Government did give out a grant to all authorities in the last quarter of the last financial year.
Okay. All right. Councillor Denver Priest.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Thank you very much. I'm a little bit bemused here now because what are we going to do from here on? And anybody goes short of a couple of bob? Yes, there we go. We'll do the town centres, perhaps the ones that are up at the top of the mountain, right? Or what? Perhaps we got a bus service going up there, or we climb up on our shoulders. Just where are we going? That's all I want to know. You know, where are we going? We haven't got money to burn. Thank you, Chair.
Was there an actual question there, Councillor?
Well, no. Actually, I was bringing up what I said at the beginning. What I was bringing up is I just didn't understand exactly what we are doing, what path we are going down. This is completely alien to me in my time as a councillor, which is 30-odd years now, that we've actually started to pay people to come into the town centres, just one particular town centre. And we got a big area, and a lot of people will want other things doing, and it's cash coming out to the council. I can't see how we can do it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Brenda Miles.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, it's an interesting idea that Councillor Etheridge has raised tonight, but I don't feel I could support it without knowing what the financial implications
Exactly.
Of doing as he's asked, and I wondered if he has any of those details available. Thanks.
I don't. Thank you. I don't have the financial implications available. I'm looking them up now so I can see what the savings figure was for this financial year for 25-26 and what it would be to defer it.
They can't. It's a never-ending stream. Never-ending stream. Once you open that stream, the gate, that's it.
Sorry, Councillor Sean Morgan.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Member. Very interesting, Councillor Etheridge's ask for free parking in the period up to Christmas. We have, unlike Cwmbran and some other places which have huge amounts of car parking spaces. Indeed, somewhere like Cwmbran, it was built around the car park. It was an intrinsic part of the design of the town. Our towns are very constrained valleys towns, and we have very limited parking in those towns. I would just like to ask officers, if there was free parking in the town, do you believe that that free parking would enable more people to travel through the town and to shop and to bring benefit to the retail industries in those towns? Or would those car parks likely be filled and blocked for the day on a sort of first come, first served basis? Because I understand, and being somebody who's been in retail all my life, I've been a shopkeeper all my life, I would personally prefer to see a charge there so that you can have a turnover of customers. So I suppose this is a question of an opinion, but would it be beneficial to the retail if we were to offer free parking?
Mr. Williams, please.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Member. Thank you, Councillor Morgan. I'll just speak of experience during COVID. Obviously, we had free parking, and that free parking continued after sort of town centre reopening. And I'll just give an example of the Toynink affiliate. We had lots of complaints that that car park was basically gridlocked all day with people working and parking for free. So it wasn't conducive to allowing churn in the town for people to visit the short periods and use the facilities, services and shops there. So we have first-hand experience of car parks getting clogged up with people working in the towns from our experience after COVID.
That's right, Mark, you were so correct.
Right, next questioner is Councillor Donna Cushion, please.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Member. It's my recollection that this has happened in previous Christmases leading up to Christmas. However, as Mark has suggested, staff members then tend to clog up the car parks. Might I make an addendum to this suggestion that the first 2 hours are free, and then from hour 3 on, they have to pay? I'm sure you only need to reprogram the parking tickets machines.
Is that a second motion then, Councillor Cushion?
If you'd like to call it that, it's just an addendum actually to Councillor Ethwood's original one. That they reprogram the machines, that the first 2 hours are free. That means then staff people won't park in them, and people who go and shop in there then have a limited time where the parking's free. Simple, really, isn't it?
Yeah, as long as you monitor it.
Thank you. Is that addendum acceptable, Councillor Etheridge, to you?
Yes, I'm prepared to incorporate that into the motion.
Thank you.
And
Could I have a seconder then for the addendum? Councillor Jones? Thank you, John.
Second.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll come out. We've got another question from Councillor Mann. Did you indicate, Colin?
No, I was going to support the recommendation of the first 2 hours free, Ron.
Right, so thank you very much.
Okay then, there's nobody else indicating, but before I call in Councillor Etheridge to go through his motion again, I'll call in the leader.
Yeah, thanks, Presiding Member. I think we're in danger here of making policy on the hoof without any of the financial information. I mean, no member, I don't think, can tell me what the first 2 hours would cost, what the benefits are, pros, cons, and what have you. from my own point of view, I was the cabinet member who extended free car parking back in the previous administration. But as I think Councillor Morgan and Mark Williams have pointed out, that did come with significant problems, particularly in Caerphilly, where workers were parking up there all day. So I don't believe personally it's a panacea for town centre improvements. And without any of the financials, without any of the further information, we're not in a position as the Labour group to support that year to date. I think we're in danger of making stuff up sort of on the hoof, and that shouldn't be the way we proceed, in my opinion. Thank you, Presiding
If I go back to Councillor Etheridge, Councillor Bob Owen.
Yeah, thank you, Presiding Member. Yeah, I was going to put my hand up, and then Councillor Cushing did just in front of me and said exactly what I was going to say. The 151 officer was just saying she could look at the costs. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I'm sure this is not going to be massive, and it definitely will take away the clog that for example, Councillor Morgan spoke about, which is fair comment, but this will definitely take away the option of people coming into Blackwood, for example, who work in offices. They will not be able to park there because it'll only be 2 hours. So it will free it up for people who will come into the town. And I just like to put it in a comparison. I know we haven't got no parking charges in Risca, but we've got 1 hour parking. And for years and years, until we had enforcement back, once we lost the traffic warden, which was many years ago, everybody was just parking all day outside shops and whatever, and businesses were losing out. But once we got the enforcement guys coming in, people started to realise they couldn't park all day. We get hell of a lot of throughput now where people can actually stop and shop in Risca because of that limited time. And I think this 2 hours would be, would be similarly good for anywhere where parking is charged. So I would definitely support this. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Elizabeth Davis.
I don't know about the other villages or towns in the area, but Blackwood already has a limited amount of free parking space, and it already has 2 hours free parking as well. So I don't think that's a particularly beneficial thing for them, because they've already got a certain amount of it, and it doesn't seem to be attracting very many people at the moment. I can't see that they would attract more.
Okay. Leanne?
Thank you. Just to confirm, I've had officers look, but it's not something I'm going to be able to confirm in this meeting, and I would advise taking decisions without the full financial implications. Also, thank you. Also, if we look at Q1 monitoring report, we're already forecasting an overspend for 25-26. So if you take a decision on this, it would just make that position even worse.
Hang on, Gary. Hang on. I want to take Charlotte first, and then I go to Marcus.
Thank you. Presiding Officer. Two things. I do agree with Donna's proposal. I think it would be incentive for everyone to go shopping within our towns. However, are we short on traffic enforcement officers? So how would we enforce this? Not a popular opinion, but traffic enforcement officers going around after them 2 hours could increase our revenue further. That's it. Thank you.
Before I come to it, I was in Blackwood today and I seen someone being booked, a few, and on the way into Blackwood. They're around our area a lot at the moment. But, well, Marcus, do you want to answer that on any other questions?
Yeah, just to give a little bit of more clarity on the financial figures, I know it's been mentioned that this wouldn't be significant. It would be significant. I would say this is probably getting close to a six-figure sum off the top of my head. I haven't got the figures to hand, but for a period of 7 or 8 weeks, it would be a significant amount of money that would be lost. I understand the need to get people into the town centres. Councillor Morgan is exactly right of what we've seen in the past with car parks being clogged up by people who are working in the town centres, and therefore people who are coming into the town centres to actually shop have been complaining that they haven't had places to shop. With regard to civil parking enforcement officers, we do try and target our major town centres to making sure that we've got that churn. And it is a balanced strike. We haven't really had a proper full year since COVID, because civil parking enforcement came in just before COVID. Then COVID came in, and then there was relaxations on the car parking charges. So we're only now getting into the realms of normality in the way that we enforce. It is a service that we look to pay for itself, so it should be self-financing from the aspects that they generate the revenue from the enforcement. I would say it will be extremely difficult to try and implement this in such a short period, because how you would then know who has been there for less than 2 hours without changing the parking machines. And that is a task in itself. You wouldn't do it in the timeframes we've got now before Christmas. So you would need more resource to know that the cars are turning up and that they've been there for more than 2 hours. So you would practically need someone sitting on those car parks all day to making sure, seeing what cars are coming in and what cars are leaving, as Councillor Bishop's just mentioned. So it would be difficult to resource this to try and implement it in the timeframes that we've got before Christmas.
Right, Councillor Gary Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Presiding Member. This was discussed last week at the corporate scrutiny, and none of this was brought up then. You know, the problem is we are still looking at a deficit unless things change around. Now, we've already know we've got pressures within the council, and if we start going for this here now, it's even more tough decisions come next year. I think if we can make, you know, a few savings, we got to do it, and not, you know, it would be nice to do it, but unfortunately we're not in that financial area to do that.
Okay, Councillor Royce-Rallis.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And this is obviously a motion on the hoof. I mean, if Councillor Etheridge was serious about this, he would certainly have brought it to officers prior to this meeting, so all the facts could be brought forward to us and we could see what it cost, what it entails, whether it was possible to operate it. So, you know, we just can't operate a council in this way, and Councillor Etheridge ought to know that. I mean, if he can change his motion just in 2 minutes from wanting it free to wanting it to be a short charge, he hasn't given it any thought at all. Chair, I can't support this at all. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Sean Morgan.
Thank you, Presiding Member. We've gone, it feels like we've gone right off the outturn report here. A report about a spend of over £500 million per annum in this council. As Councillor Pritchard, the leader of the council, mentioned earlier that this council is probably over £100 million underfunded compared to where it was 14 or 15 years ago due to austerity. We've had that good news about a £6.3 million windfall, but then you see a £6.3 million deficit in schools, which really does show the pressure on the education system, something which I believe is absolutely key to cohesive communities, is to have a proper education system running. With the budgets now being set, I believe the UK budget is somewhere circa the end of this month, 26th of November, with Welsh Government then due to produce their final budget, I think sometimes towards the end of January. Leaves very, very little time for this council to then set a budget. So Councillor Etheridge has come here with an idea of how to spend money. I'd like to ask the Section 151 officer if she would prefer if members brought forward ideas on how to actually save money. Thank you, Presiding Member.
Leanne, would you like to comment?
Thank you. Yeah, obviously we are looking for savings proposals. We are forecasting a significant gap for 26-27, and we do need to address that and address it going forwards over our MTFP period as well.
Right, finally on this issue, before I go back to Councillor Etheridge, Councillor Denver Priest. I'm not going to take any more hands up after. Now, Councillor Priest.
Thank you, member. I do appreciate it for asking me this. Well, not to talk. I just hope people to start to listen, because at the end of the day, like we've got a bus service now, which is second to none. I know it's only part of the residents can use it, but after that we've got to take that into consideration. But we can't afford to start paying out money, which we will have to pay out. And I can't remember the gentleman's name who said about the cost of the machines that would be put in to take the money and all that. It would be phenomenal. And that's without even thinking of maintenance about it. I'm telling you that now. I shan't be voting for this. I couldn't vote for it because I think it's a stupid idea.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Priest.
Yeah.
Right, then I will take the motion. Okay, although we have gone off the point a bit, I will take the motion. So, Councillor Etheridge, would you like to tell us your motion once again to remind us?
Okay. The machines were changed Monday, actually, to increase the charges in Blackwood. So it's very difficult to change the machines, Marcus. 420,000 in car parking charges in Blackwood last year. But there we are. Yeah, the motion is from the 17th of November till the 5th of January, a period of between basically 4 to 5 weeks. The first 2 hours is free, and this would be 3.14 of the recommendation, and it would be taken from the underspend on 5.4, 0.604 million. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, then I will take that motion on 3.14, which don't really exist at the moment. But Mr. Tranter.
If you can bear with us a moment, please, members. We're getting a vote together. So we're going to vote initially, please, on the proposal of Councillor Etheridge. I'm not sure who seconded it, about 2 hours free car parking in our towns, I think from the 17th of December to the 4th of January. So if you can, yep, we're ready for a vote. So that's what you're going to vote on to start with, please.
Just to clarify, vote for, if you're in favour of the motion, vote for. Okay? All right, Rob, sorry.
That's absolutely fine. Any members having difficulty, if you could please let me know. Councillor Etheridge, you haven't got the vote in front of you, have you? Okay, and you will vote for. Okay, anybody else having difficulty? Councillor Pritchard. Against, that's been noted. And that the motion has been defeated and comfortably defeated at that, presiding member.
Councillor Judith Pritchard, you wanted to come in? If we've already voted on this motion, so if it's about the motion, it's gone.
Sorry, no, I voted on the about the car parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I voted against.
Right. Okay.
On the grounds that it can't be achieved in time. What
so
I wanted to do was put an amendment to the next item, which is the nuclear energy.
Right, we're still on this one at the moment. We're going to go back to the recommendations. Okay, Councillor Stenner, do you want to come back in?
No, thank you.
Okay, we'll go to the recommendations as Councillor Stenner did outline at 3.11, 3.12 and 3.13. I'll take you to Mr. Tranter now, please.
Yeah, many thanks, presiding member. So members, we are back now to the substantive recommendations within the report. There are 3 of them. On the poll that will be before you any moment, can you please cast your vote? Thank you. Anyone having any trouble voting, please let me know. Thank you, Councillor Pritchard. 4.
Okay.
Councillor Wooden?
4, please.
4 as well. Okay, so that's been noted. So those recommendations comfortably carried. Thank you.
All right, item 13, proposed withdrawal of affiliation to the nuclear-free local authorities. Councillor Nigel George.
Thank you, President Member. The purpose of this report is to seek the Council's approval to withdraw its affiliation to the nuclear-free local authorities, thereby regularising any decision to withdraw the affiliation, which is a Council decision. In summary, the Council has been affiliated to the nuclear-free local authorities since 1996. It pays an annual subscription and is a nominated member with Manchester City Council managing the NFLA. In the coming months and years, the Council may be signing energy purchase agreements which could include nuclear energy. Also, regarding Cardiff Capital City Region deal and its recent purchase of the Aberthorpe Power Station near Roos, there could be opportunities for investment or low carbon production using a new generation of small modular reactors or micro-reactors at some point in the future. In light of the above, the Council is asked to approve the withdrawal of its affiliation at the earliest opportunity. It is recommended that the Council is asked to endorse the withdrawal of affiliation to the nuclear-free local authorities, which will be actioned at the earliest opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. I got Christine Bissex-Foster. I understand you're going to second this. All right, thank you. We will move on. Having been moved and seconded, the debate is now in order. Members attending remotely and in the chamber, if you have any comments, please indicate now using the hands up button on Teams, and I will take speakers in strict order of indication. The first one is Councillor Donna Cushin.
Thank you, Presiding Member. As you can probably imagine, I'm totally against this. What you've got to think of, any nuclear, whether it be the small modular reactors or the micro reactors, or any sort of reactors really, they have a time limit. And the time limit is between 40 and 60 years. However, the waste that they produce can actually last for thousands of years. I know we haven't tested the theory yet because obviously nuclear waste hasn't been around that long. But if you could imagine at the birth of Christ and somebody planted nuclear waste and we would still be suffering with it now, where we'd have dead land, contamination and everything that goes with it. So I will not be voting in favour of this.
Thanks, Presiding Member. Can I just remind councillors here today, this is about leaving an organisation. It's not about having nuclear waste dumped in the borough. And I believe this organisation hasn't met for several years and just basically sends out information to members. And I think we also pay a subscription towards it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Judith Pritchard.
Yes, thank you, Presiding Officer. I did inform you in advance that I wanted to propose an amendment, and the amendment is to defer this agenda item until the Council has decided, following an informed debate, to either change or to reaffirm our existing policy on nuclear energy, which actually is not to take part in any schemes that propose nuclear energy. Because I think that in 1996, when this council was formed, we joined the nuclear-free local authorities, and they advocate for nuclear-free policies and promoting renewable energy initiatives. This followed on from the policies of Rumney Valley District Council and Middlemorgan Council, and we were, nuclear free, or that was our policy for many years. In fact, I think in the early 80s we had a council-sponsored trip to Greenham Common, which was Colin Mann will remember that I went in the car with him, and we had a council bus, I think.
If you could,
so this
Judith,
followed
if you
on.
could just,
So our policy followed on from policies of Rumney Valley District Council and Midlam, and I don't believe that the council has changed its policies since. We've developed several strategies since recently. For instance, a decarbonation strategy, an energy perspective to the local area energy plan, a net zero 20 to 50 strategy, and I don't believe that any of these mention nuclear energy. So leaving the nuclear-free local authorities constitutes a change in policy which council has not debated and agreed to, and this is just in order to be able to consider possible proposals of the Cardiff City region, of which we're a member, to promote or invest in small modular nuclear reactors for a site in Bruce. Now, in my view, this is cart before horse. We have to change the policy first, and then, if people decide that we will abandon the nuclear, our anti-nuclear stance, then we can withdraw from the nuclear-free local authorities. But I think this is the wrong way round and not the way that you change policy. So for the reasons that Councillor Cushing has just given, I don't think small modular reactors are very good anyway, but it's mainly a question of principle, that you determine the policy and then you take it from there. You don't have policy by stealth just because you think you might be able to make a pew bob in investing in a nuclear reactor which I think are very undesirable because of the waste problem, very expensive, take a long time to develop, and look at the problems they have now having.
More progress, Chair.
Judith, I'm going to have to stop
Okay.
you now.
Well, I should have 5 minutes. I don't think I've been speaking for 5 minutes.
You're repeating yourself.
But basically, that's the gist of it. So my motion is to defer this decision until we've had a proper debate in council, which is informed, and we really thought about the consequences of this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I stand on a point of clarification, Mr. Presiding Member? I mean, we're not talking about the advantages of nuclear or disadvantages of nuclear or any other source of power. What we're simply talking about is whether or not we should retain our membership with a group of people or an organisation that at the moment doesn't even meet.
Well,
so, we appear to have gone way off the course of this particular agenda item.
Elaine, do you want to come back in again quickly?
Can I thank Councillor Sorales for coming in? And I'll repeat it again for the benefit of Councillor Pritchard. This is a suggestion to leave a committee that no longer meets and hasn't met for many years. There's no plans to build a nuclear reactor on the grounds of Caerphilly Castle. It's about leaving an organisation.
Right. Councillor Charlotte Bishop.
Sorry, can I come back on that? Because
Judith, I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Can I sum up?
Move progress, Chair.
Quiet, Denver, please. You've moved a motion which I will accept, okay? And you did talk at quite length about why, but like I said, I think it was, as it's been rightly said, it was off the point a bit on some of the things. So I'd like to move on. There are several people who would like to speak. I will come back to you at the end for your motion. Okay? Charlotte.
Thank you, Judith, for a very interesting and comprehensive.
You're not speaking into a mic, Chair.
Apologies, Councillor Sorales. As stated by Councillor Sorales, the last motion that was given, we didn't have any forward notice. We didn't have any details. So thank you, Judith, for giving us the detail and the information of the motion you've put in. I believe during that this agenda item, we wanted to leave because there may be possibilities of financial gain in the future. So even though we wouldn't be building a year and we would be looking at Aberthaw, I still think there may be an opportunity for us to invest in nuclear energy in the future. On that grounds, I will second Judith's motion, because even though it is innovative technology and great scientific discoveries, is also untested. I wouldn't like that close to my children or my residents. And again, you've got the waste afterwards, which is untested on time and how long, and the difficulty and financial implication of the disposal as well. So I will second Judith's motion on that. Thank you.
Okay then, thank you, Councillor Bishop. We've got Councillor Christian Woodland.
Thank you, Presiding Member. In the future, if there was any talk of any nuclear reactors or anything, surely you would have to come before us before anything like that is decided. Am I right in saying that? Thank you.
Okay then. Councillor Brenda Miles.
Thank you, Chair. I do share some concerns about this. As Judith has outlined, I think this report does implicitly incorporate a policy change because there is potential for future investment opportunities. Now, the way I look at it, I mean, I've read that there are already plans to build more than 20 small and advanced modular reactors in the UK by the mid-2030s. And if we disaffiliate from the NFLA now, are we sending a message to nuclear developers that Caerphilly Council is open for nuclear business in the future? Because, like has been said, I'm not comfortable with the siting of small nuclear reactors in Caerphilly County Borough, and I think this opens the door for that kind of thing to come forward. The NFL's aims are set out in paragraph 5.2, including working to minimise nuclear hazards and increase public safety, and to identify the impact of national nuclear policy on local communities. I can't see how we can disagree with those aims. I certainly would support them. I don't recognise, someone has said that this organisation doesn't meet, but you only need to look at their website to see that they're active and producing regular newsletters and updates and policy papers. Now, I do have some concerns about the small size of modular, smaller size of modular reactors and the distinct issues that arise from those, because, and I have read that these smaller reactors can lead to more neutron leakage compared with larger reactors, leading to more contamination and more nuclear waste. That the spent nuclear fuel from small reactors can exhibit higher radiotoxicity than spent fuel from conventional reactors. And modular reactors, like all nuclear reactors, will eventually require decommissioning. So these are concerns that need further discussion and investigation, I think. Managing and disposing of this radioactive waste safely and responsibly places a burden on future generations. And there's no mention in this report of the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. And we can't ignore that. We should be taking a long-term view, I think, on every decision that we make. And I know you'll argue that this is just about disaffiliation, but I think, as I said, there are wider implications in play in changing our policy stance on this. I leave it there. I've got other reasons, but I think for those reasons that I've outlined, I think Judith is right, Councillor Pritchard is right on this occasion. We should defer this and we should have a debate, a wider debate about where this organisation stands on nuclear power and nuclear power proliferation in the future, and whether we would be interested in taking advantage of investment opportunities or not. There's a debate to be had there before we distance ourselves from the Nuclear Free Local Government Association. So I'm interested to hear what other people have got to say on it, but on the face of it, I'm against this motion and in favour of the amendment.
So thank you, Councillor Miles. Councillor Reid.
Hi, I just wanted to know how much is this affiliation per year? Can somebody tell me, please? I can't hear you.
It's outlined in 8.1 of the report. It's just over £1,800.
1,800? Yeah. Right, thank you.
Okay.
So can I ask on clarification again, Mr. Presiding Member? All we're asking is whether we should send £1,800 to an organisation that doesn't exist.
So, Presiding Member, could you
For
remind
clarification, I'm asking
members
for
that they speak
clarification.
after
I
they've been
haven't
called
had
in,
it,
and
and
not before?
I would like to have it from the monitoring officers here.
Right. Thank you. Janine, you finished? Right. Councillor Reid.
Thank you, Presiding Member. I'm not really sure why we're having this debate. From the members' comments from behind me, it's such an insignificant matter, such a small amount of money. Why has it been brought to council? It seems to me that it's something that they want to just get done and leave this organisation. But I think it sends a message wider about the environmental position of this council, and we could well be open to criticism from environmental groups if we would to withdraw from this agreement. And it's such an insignificant amount of money, £1,800 in the scheme of things. We've just heard from the lead, and I also agree with Councillor Miles and Pritchard that this is about policy. We heard from the leader earlier that we don't make policy on the hoof. Well, it feels like to me in this one, we are, again, guilty of making policy on the hoof. So I don't think we should support it. I don't think there's any harm in deferring it to have a proper debate, because I think the underlying reasons for leaving this membership have not been fully explored. But like I say, I'm not even sure why it was brought to council. It seems a bit of a waste of time to me.
Shall I explain that? Just to put your mind at ease, Councillor Reid, it's come before you because it was a decision that the council took back in 1996. So to do things properly, it's here for a debate, for a decision. Thanks.
And in 1996, so 29 years ago, why has it been brought back to this particular council? Sorry.
Councillor Reid, do you not understand what I just said?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll explain.
Sorry,
I'll explain to you. Okay.
Yes, please.
So, a decision was taken by the newly formed Caerphilly County Borough Council in 1996 to join this organisation.
Thank you.
Okay. There's a proposal now to come out of that organisation. That is a decision of council. That is why there is a report before you this evening.
Thank you for taking the time to explain that to me.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you.
We'll move on. I got to apologise to Marina. I did miss you off. So Marina Chacken-Dawson.
Can I ask, will leaving this affiliation mean that we're open for nuclear?
I think that's been explained. I think the cabinet member sitting behind you has answered that question twice. What this is about.
Right.
But right, okay, we'll move on. Walter Williams, you as Councillor Williams, you was showing earlier on. Do you want to come in?
Thank you, Presiding Member. Yeah, my question has been answered. I wanted to know how much the subscription was.
Okay, that's
that we were paying. Can I carry on a moment? Yes, where we were paying to organisation that didn't have meetings. We had no input into really. And if it is such a insignificant sum, perhaps you would like to give it to my community centre. £1,800 would be ideal gift. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Walter. Councillor John Taylor, you was indicating.
Thank you, Presiding Member. The thing that worries me is we're hearing that this organisation doesn't meet, yet there's nothing in the report that actually says that when it talks about that organisation, its aims. But one of the things that really worries me is paragraph 5.3 in that report. It says, however, in light of proposed investment opportunities in nuclear energy, there is now a policy disconnect between the Council's aim and investment opportunities and those of the NFLA. That suggests that the Council's aims and investment policies, opportunities, that there's a policy disconnect between our aims and those of the NFLA. Now, I don't think, as Judith has pointed out, our policies and aims have actually changed as regards nuclear power. And I think Judith's suggestion that we defer this until we've decided what our policy on nuclear energy should be, rather than doing it this way round, because my worry is that we're now saying there's a policy disconnect. So our policies are now no longer the same as the NFLA. And I believe that as the current things stand, our policies still are the same. Whether or not we should affiliate to this particular organisation, I'm open-minded about. But I think we're going about it the wrong way, and it is going to send a message that our aims and our policies are now disconnected from those aims, and I don't think that's correct.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Colin Mann.
I think most of my comments have already been made, but this proposed investment in nuclear, I know nothing about it. I think this is a very scant report. We need a far better report to consider before we make any decision, and I would like to see this report deferred. Thank you, Presiding Member.
And finally on this, before I go back to Councillor Pritchard, Councillor Teresa Parry.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. Yes, 5.3 was also a very big concern for me. It does actually give the green light to anyone wanting to put any nuclear reactors here in our borough. So not necessarily to retain our membership, but I really do support Councillor Judith Pritchard's proposal that we should have a full debate on this, not just brought to council and expected to just drop our anti-nuclear stance, because I particularly am anti-nuclear. I want my future generations here to be nuclear free. So we haven't got a proper voice if we don't have a proper debate on this. So I would support Judith Pritchard's proposal.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Parry. Right. There's no more indicating, as I say it. Councillor Gary Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Presiding Member. I'm getting a bit confused myself here, because I believe that this is just us leaving this group because they're no longer as active as what they used to be. Can I ask our leader just to reassure members that we are not looking at changing policy on nuclear or anything else that is just to do with this group?
Yeah, happy to confirm that, Gary. I mean, look, Point 2.2 is about the council and Aberthaw, for instance, with the Cardiff Capital Region. There's no policy whatsoever about us welcoming nuclear power or opening the door to nuclear power. In fact, I think it's in Wilver and Anglesey that both, I think, the local Senedd member and the local MP are fully in support of. I don't think this is an issue where the parties are too far apart on. You know, I really don't. If we accept that we're in the Cardiff Capital Region, and I certainly do, because we've got to fight for investment through the Cardiff Capital Region, there will be times where you've got to consider reports as a collective, as 10 leaders on that authority, that may or may not invest in small modular reactors. But there is no message going out from this council that build a nuclear power station in the middle of the county borough. It is simply and utterly to remove ourselves a subscription fee away from this body that hasn't met or doesn't meet very regularly, so my understanding, and that is the nuts and bolts of it. Thanks, Presiding Member.
Right, quickly.
So was that a reassurance that no, we won't be investing, or we don't know? Thank you.
Well, as a member of the Cardiff Capital Region, 10 leaders will get to decide whether there could be investments within that region. But there's no understanding from my point of view that we're investing in nuclear power within Caerphilly County Borough. It's an issue where the Cardiff Capital Region will consider on a case-by-case basis. So no, there is no plans to invest in nuclear power as things stand in Caerphilly County Borough.
Okay, thank you. Right, I'm taking no more on this, but I'm going to go back to Councillor Judith Pritchard. Judith, can you please remind us of your motion?
Yes, it's to defer this agenda item until the council has decided, following an informed debate, to change or to reaffirm our existing policy on nuclear energy.
Okay, then.
Can I say I'm quite sorry, I don't know who spoke at the back there.
Judith, I got the greatest respect for you, but you did talk for a long time earlier on.
What?
We've had a long debate. It's been a long evening so far. I've asked to come back to you. I promised to come back to you for you to put your motion forward, which you have. So I'm going to take the motion.
Well, can't I reply? Surely the
Well,
mover,
no,
the mover
Judith,
of the amendment
Judith,
can reply to some of the
with great
points that people have given.
No, with great respect, you did outline your feelings in great depth earlier on, and I've been a lot of people who've supported you. So I'd like to move on.
Right.
Judith.
Allegations have been made that I don't think can be substantiated.
No allegations have been made. Different people have got different opinions.
No, they've said that the anti-nuclear
Judith, with the greatest
alliance,
respect,
the anti-nuclear
I'm going to
local
take the
government,
motion now.
local authorities,
I'm going to go to the motion.
hasn't met for years. I'm not aware of that, and
Well,
certainly the website, as Brenda
well,
Miles said, doesn't
it-
imply that.
well-
So I would like to know. I would like facts, actually.
Well,
you know,
can I-
why is the person
Do your job, Chair. Get ballot from your chair.
Let's have your motion. We'll ballot on your motion. I'll take it to Mr. Tranter now.
Thank you, presiding member. Members, we are going to vote, first of all, on Councillor Judith Pritchard's amendment. And that amendment is, as you've heard Councillor Pritchard say, to effectively defer the recommendation within the report until there's been a full debate within Council on nuclear energy policy. I think we have the poll before you. So vote for if you want to defer the report, vote no if you don't want to defer the report. And the poll is there. Anybody having difficulty voting, if you could please let me know and I will make a note of your vote. Councillor Hayden Pritchard, for. Thank you very much, Councillor Pritchard.
Councillor Denver, please. I haven't got it up.
And how would you like to vote, Councillor Priest?
For, please.
You want to vote for. Okay, thank you very much. Any other members wish to vote or having difficulty voting? I think the answer to that is no. Therefore, presiding member, that motion has been defeated.
Okay then, thank you very much. We'll move on now to the recommendations within the report. At 3.1, Council is asked to endorse the withdrawal of its affiliation to the nuclear-free local authorities, which should be actioned at the earliest opportunity. Mr. Tranter.
Many thanks, presiding member. Members, we are now voting on the recommendation within the report on the poll that will be before you any moment, and there it is. If you could please cast your vote. If you're for the recommendation, obviously for. If you're against it, please vote against. Any members having any difficulty voting, if you could please make me aware and I'll record your vote. Councillor Hayden Pritchard, you are against. That's recorded. Anybody else having difficulty?
Councillor Priest. Councillor Priest.
Okay. Sorry, Councillor Priest.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Actually, I didn't hear what he was for and against. I don't know what happened to my computer. If I didn't have no sound at all. Can you just repeat that, please?
Okay. So we're now voting on the recommendation within the report, and the recommendation is to come out of nuclear-free local authorities. So do you want to vote for or against?
I'll go for 4, please.
Okay, that's been recorded, and therefore, presiding member, the recommendation in the report is comfortably carried. Members, whilst I've got the microphone on, it is now 7:45. Your standing orders state that meetings must be for a maximum of 3 hours. However, with the consent of the majority, we can go on till 9 o'clock. So may I suggest that we vote on suspending standing orders, and if we need to, we can go on until 9 o'clock. If at all possible, I will take a vote with hands in the chamber, if that's possible. And those members online, if you are in favour of going on until 9 o'clock, if that's necessary, could you please put your hands up function up, and then we can take a vote on that. I hope that's clear for everyone. So can we have a vote in the chamber as well, please? Okay. Thank you very much. So standing orders have been suspended. We can go that extra hour if necessary. Thank you, presiding member.
Right. You told me 11 o'clock. No? I know it is. Right, we move on to agenda item 14, standing orders for contracts and procurement and contract management strategy. Councillor Nigel George, please.
Thank you. The report and associated appendices are in relation to the proposed amendments to the Council's standing orders for contracts and the implementation of the proposed new 5-year procurement and contract management strategy. The report outlines the key areas of the proposed amendments to the standing orders for contracts. The standing orders for contracts and the strategy are aligned to and support both the UK and Welsh Government procurement reform agendas and the associated legislation. That the strategy is our commitment to meet various initiatives and key policy drivers. The recommendations and reasons for these recommendations, namely being fit for purpose in accordance with the procurement rules, corporate governance, and ensuring alignment with the best practices in the wider legislation. It is also important to highlight that the proposed amendments to the SOFC can also be attributed to the proactive and mature approach of how procurement is administered and managed within the Council, and clearly aligns to our commitment to improve financial management. The proposed enhancements also support numerous Council HR and financial policies and provides a robust and fit-for-purpose approach to ensuring staff have the appropriate measures established to protect themselves, the Council and the public money. Finally, the purpose of the 5 years socially responsible strategy builds upon our existing programme for procurement and outlines the Council's core principles, aspirations, and defines and approaches of socially responsible procurement and proactive contract management, ensuring that the expenditure delivers even greater value in contributing to positive cultural, economic, environmental and social outcomes by fully maximising the £50. The recommendations are as follows: to incorporate the proposed amendments of the SOFC for inclusion with the Council's Constitution and in accordance with the proposals and the reasons detailed within the report, including Appendices 1 and 2. Executive directors and all authorised officers will receive a copy of the fully amended, and all associated documentation will be made available via the intranet and internet prior to the implementation. Endorsement of the proposed 5-year socially responsible strategy 2025 to 30, to note that training will be provided via the Council's Corporate Procurement Unit upon request, and communications will be issued to the wider organisation leading up to their implementation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor George. Councillor Adrian, as you understand, you will second this report.
Yeah, thank you, presiding member. Yes, I'm more than happy to second this.
Okay, then moving on. Having been moved and seconded, the debate is in order. Members attend remotely and in the chamber. If you have any comments, please indicate now using the hands up button on Teams, and I will take speakers in strict order of indication. There's nobody shown at the moment. There is one hand gone up, but not on Teams. Councillor Colin Mann.
Thank you, Presiding Member. I was looking at 5.17 debarment list. Could we have some examples of what companies have been debarred and for what, please?
Right, can we go to the back row over there? Ian? Well, we got officers in the chamber to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Presiding Member. Thanks for Diolch, Colin, for the question. In terms of the debarment list, this is something certainly under the new regulations that's been strengthened. In terms of examples at the moment, this is something where UK and Welsh governments are working towards in terms of the implementation. There is still quite a bit of secondary legislation to be agreed. But certainly, in terms of examples of contractors or suppliers, I wouldn't have any of those. But as I've said, the legislation and the secondary legislation to basically enact the overarching rules is much more defined now in terms of the approach to debarment and suspension of contractors.
Okay, happy with that, Colin? Do you want to come back in?
Well, I'm aware that there were contractors whose contracts were discontinued during the WHQS process because they made an absolute mess of it. That's probably not the only example, but I thought there may be more, and it could be enlightening to members to know what they were.
Ian? Or Liz?
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Thank you, Councillor Mann. The example you've given would be treated under a different part of the legislation and also under a different part of the contract that the contract was let on. So debarment would be completely different altogether. So anybody failing to actually meet their obligations in terms of the contract would be dealt with in line with the contract terms and conditions. And if we terminated with those providers and felt that we could not work with them, there is a process that we need to go through now under the legislation, which allows them to cleanse and allows them to put right their wrong. So there are very detailed processes now within the legislation, and that would be followed through within our contract standing orders. So that is different to the debarment side of it.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Marina Shackendorsen.
I did have a few questions, but I'll only ask the one. Because I read through, but I might have missed it. Do we keep an up-to-date register of contracts, including waivers and breaches?
Say that again, Marina.
Do we keep an up-to-date register of contracts, including waivers and breaches?
Waivers and breaches. Mr. Lucas.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Thank you, Councillor. Yes, we keep a contract of an actual list of all contracts that we let within the authority, and within our audit team and the finance, we have details of all waivers and any breaches of contract. Yes.
Okay. Okay, is nobody else indicating? So we'll go to the recommendations as outlined by the Cabinet member at 3.1 to 3.4. Mr. Tranter.
Thank you, Presiding Member. Members, there'll be a poll before you any moment. Could you please cast your vote on the recommendations within the report? Anybody having difficulties, please let me know and I will record your vote. Oh, sorry, Councillor Pritchard. 4, that's noted, thank you. Councillor Denver Priest.
4, please.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Priest. Therefore, Presiding Member, there's just one abstention, so it's been comfortably carried. Thank you.
Okay then, on to agenda item 15, Standards Committee appointment of lay member and town and community member and reappointment of lay members. Councillor Nigel Jones, please.
Thank you. The report recommends to Council various appointments to the Standards Committee. In respect of the appointments of the community member, Council is asked to defer the appointment at this stage. In summary, this report sets out the processes undertaken to fill the current vacancies that have arisen on the Council Standards Committee. The report recommends that the Council accepts the recommendations of the Appointments Panel in relation to the filling of the independent lay member vacancy to the Standards Committee and the deferment of the appointment of the community member to the Standards Committee. In addition, Council is asked to endorse the reappointment of 2 current lay members as outlined in the report. For clarity, members are asked to approve the following: that Mr. Lee Shackson be appointed for a period of 6 years from the 11th of November 2025 as an independent lay member of the Standards Committee, that the appointment of the community member is deferred, and finally, the reappointment of current lay members Mr. J. Card and Mrs. L. Davis for a further period of 4 years from the 11th of October 2025.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Lane for it, and Sanu second this.
More than happy to second this, presiding member.
Right, haven't been moved and seconded. Debate is in order. Any comments? No? Okay, then we'll take you straight through to the recommendations at 3.1, 1 and 3. As Councillor George said, 2 is being deferred. So, Mr. Tranter.
Thank you, presiding member. Members, could you please make your vote on the 3 recommendations as read out by Councillor George? Anyone having any difficulties, if you could please let me know and I will record your vote accordingly. Councillor Hayden Pritchard, 4, thank you very much. Councillor Denver Priest? 4. 4, that's recorded. Sorry, Councillor Sean Morgan?
My computer has given up the will to live. I'm voting for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's been recorded. Anyone else having any difficulties? Looks like the answer is no. Therefore, presiding member, the recommendations have been comfortably carried. Thank you.
Right, item 16, notice of motion, ethical investment and Gaza. I call on Councillor Charlotte Bishop. Can you just read the motion, please, because we will go into debate after it, okay? So you just, yes.
Thank you to numerous members who have input into
Mike.
Thank you to numerous members who've had input into this motion. Special thanks to Janine Reid and Councillor Sean Morgan as well, because he actually helped draft it. Okay, notice of motion. We, the undersigned, ask this council to note the ongoing, deeply concerning, harrowing conflict in Gaza, which is resulting in significant loss of innocent life and has been described by the UN Special Committee that Israel's warfare methods in Gaza are consistent with genocide, including use of starvations as weapons of war. Our support for immediate bilateral ceasefire, that we understand that local authorities such as Waltham Forest, Oxford City and North Somerset Council have passed policies, and a lot more now, opposing investment in arms companies complicit in the conflict, that we share the widespread call from within our communities for peace and justice, that in doing so we also totally condemn the act of terrorism by Hamas, which triggered the present terrible situation, that we ask that this council further notes that the Greater Gwent Torvine Pension Fund, in which Caerphilly County Borough Council participates, has the ability and responsibility to apply ethical investment criteria to ensure that residents' pension contributions are not linked to human rights abuses or violation of international law. Council, therefore, I resolve to write to the Greater Gwent Torvine Pension Fund to make these views clear and to ask them to review their investment portfolio and consider whether any holdings should be divested from any companies that could be benefited from this horrific conflict, in line with a fiduciary environmental, social and governance responsibility. to ask the Greater Gwent Torfaen Pension Fund to review their ethical and responsible investment policy to ensure that strong checks prior to any investment undertake as to whether any companies are potentially complicit in war crimes. To ask the Leader of Council to write to the UK Government on behalf of the Council urging stronger efforts to promote peace, uphold international law, protect civilians and to recognise the state of Palestine, while also stopping any supplies of material or assistance to either side of the conflict that might be seen as assisted in the aggression. To affirm this Council's commitment to assure that public funds, including pensions, are invested ethically, responsibly and in line with community values. I am aware that we're currently within a ceasefire, however that is very precarious and people are still suffering, so I still would like this motion to go forward.
Okay, Councillor Janine Reid. Mike.
Sorry. About 15 years ago, 16 years ago, I backpacked around Israel, Palestine, the West Bank, whatever you want to call it. And I came home and I helped re-establish Cardiff Palestine Solidarity Campaign. But this is what I want to read out. The UN and human rights bodies have repeatedly raised concerns about companies operating in or profiting from illegal Israeli settlements in occupied Palestinian territories. Investing in such firms indirectly supports ongoing violations of international law. Public funds should reflect public values. Caerphilly Council's pension fund represents the collective contributions of local workers and taxpayers. It's reasonable that those funds be invested in ways consistent with human rights and international law. I agree this council cannot control global politics, but it can ensure its own money does not contribute to those breaches. The Israeli regime of settler colonization, apartheid, and military occupation against Palestinians derives its strength primarily from complicity and support of governments, corporations, and institutions across the world. An important step in ending the support in the systematic disinvestment of pension funds from the Israeli economy. The Palestinian people have long called upon us to support this peaceful, non-violent approach of disinvestment funds from the Israeli government. The Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions Group, which calls for an end of pension fund investments, represents Palestinian political parties, refugee coalitions, all major trade unions, farmers' unions, professional syndicates, women's unions, grassroots networks, the Palestinian Campaign for the Academic and Cultural Boycott of Israel, Stop the War campaign, and many others. We must do this not only to hinder the Israeli economy and restrict the country's ability to sustain its war machine, but also to register our opposition to the oppressive policy of the Israeli regime and to mark our solidarity with the Palestinian people. I will be voting in favour of this motion and I'm requesting fellow councillors to do the same. Thank you ever so much.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Reid. Councillor George, you indicated, no? Okay, move on.
Sorry, it was accidental and I couldn't get my hand to go down.
Councillor Teresa Parry.
Thank you, Presiding Member. And yes, I want to support this motion to full council. As you may already know, Cardiff Council was the first council in Wales to actually pass this motion and divest its pension from companies potentially complicit in war crimes and breaches of international law. It is also, by doing this, making it clear that companies that invest and support Israel should not be funded by our pensions and should be boycotted. Aiding and abetting a genocide is in fact a criminal offence. So I fully support this, and I have to say that the aggression is still going on. There is no ceasefire. The Palestinians are still under fire, and I don't know whether ever I'll see an end to this, but I do hope so, and I do hope so soon, because the horrors that we've seen are enough to disturb anybody. Yes, I will be supporting this motion.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Councillor John Jones.
Thank you. Right. I won't be long on this now because we're all tired and it's late, so I've got a headache. So I just wanted to say it's a very sensitive subject within our country. I want to talk about our country at the moment. I'm concerned that we have a very small Jewish population in Britain. I believe less than 300,000, I've been told. I don't know if that's right. They're easily marginalised. They already feel threatened. Jewish people don't advertise the fact that they're Jewish. And the children are unable to wear their school uniforms in case they're victimised, which I find is sad. We all know about the recent protests, the Gaza protests they call them, the murder in the synagogue, and the last week in the Aston Villa Stadium, which ended up being half empty because a lot of people, well, the Jewish people weren't allowed to in there, but a lot of people were too scared to go with their children. At this time, when peace talks are taking place, I mean, we all got our fingers crossed that it is. We have to see how things go. The last thing we want to do is to whip up any sort of anti-Semitic and anti-Semitism. We must be mindful that unintentionally this notice of motion could do this. I'm thinking of the people in our country. So I also want to talk about regarding the specifics of the pension funds, how we could ask Greater Gwent Torfaen Pension Fund to go checking out companies. We need to be very clear what we're asking and what effects on our workers' pensions they could be. This could be effects in years to come. You know, we're talking out people's, it's all very well, I understand the reasons why, and but there's people's pensions involved here. So I would like really to have more information on that and to find out, well, I am concerned about that. I respect the councillors who put this forward because I know they're good people and they feel strongly. However, I won't be supporting this notice of motion for the reasons I've given above. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Councillor Sean Morgan.
Thank you, presiding member. I can't say that I'm not a little shocked from Councillor Jan Jones's the point she's made. We often disagree, and I'm certainly going to disagree with Councillor Jones on this point. It's well known. Before I go on, but I want to thank Councillor Charlotte Bishop for bringing this forward. Absolutely essential, and for anybody who thinks that genocide is a terrible thing, and I know that most of the Jewish community believe that genocide is a terrible thing because those Jewish communities, their families, have been through a genocide. And therefore, I'm struggling, as I say, to understand where Councillor Jan Jones is coming from. Over 60% of the people in this country support the Palestinians and are against the genocide that is being inflicted upon them. Poll after poll shows this. Now, Councillor Jones has asked that we should look at the implications to asking the Torfaen Pension Fund to withdraw from the companies that are complicit in supplying arms and profiting from a genocide. Now, it would suggest the polling that over 60% of the people, and I believe it's probably greater in this borough because I know the communities in this borough, but over 60% of the people in the country don't wish to financially benefit from a genocide, from children being killed, from children being starved to death, and from children going thirsty. Because the Israelis have, in a recent report, attacked water sources into Gaza over 250 times. So I would ask all members here to support it. I would ask Councillor Jan Jones to perhaps reconsider her opposition to it. I'm gassed. I'm lost for words. I would ask all members to support it. I do believe that the majority of people who are invested in the people often don't understand where their investments are within pooled funds, within such an organisation as the Torfaen Pension Funds. But we can extricate ourselves so that we are not complicit and we are not benefiting from a genocide. And it's essential, and I would ask, within the notice of motion, that the leader of the council writes to the UK government and asks for a change of heart there. Let's be honest. We are still allowing arms to be sold. I think 38 out of over 800 arms, 38 licenses were revoked. The vast majority of arms and equipment to allow weapons to continue, such as F-35 jet fighters, they are still allowing the sale of those to Israel. It's been widely documented that the British RAF out of Akatiri Air Base in Cyprus has been flying reconnaissance missions over Gaza. We don't know exactly what information they are collecting or why they are collecting that information, but they are giving it directly to Israel, which I believe will make Britain complicit in this genocide and could quite easily lead to the Prime Minister being hauled in front of an international criminal court. Passionately, I will ask and call upon all members here tonight to not wish to profit from slaughter, as Councillor Jones has just spoken about supporting. And I will ask you all to please vote in favour of this notice of motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I don't think Councillor Jones actually said slaughter, but and I think we all got to recognise there's been atrocities from both sides, but you got to lay your heart.
I would like to think that somebody actually gives a, I respect everybody that's put their motion to their names to this motion. I'd like to think that somebody would respect my opinion as well, but not everybody does. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Councillor Judith Pritchard, you did indicate. Did you want to come in?
No, it's been covered.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kerry Wright.
Thank you, presiding member. And specifically, before I say anything to Jan Jones, I totally respect your position. As with all motions before us, we can all vote according to our own consciences. And I'd like actually to take the heat out of the debate following Councillor Morgan's statement as a co-signatory of this excellent notice of motion. Supporting this notice of motion does not mean that you support Hamas, for example. They're a vile, awful terrorist organisation, and they and their other vile, awful terrorist organisations with them that assaulted Israel on October the 7th, 2023. All those people should be condemned in the vilest terms, punished by whatever, hopefully, international legal means possible for what was an utterly horrifying, brutal attack on innocent Israeli people, civilians, including, obviously and tragically, so many children. What has then followed with regards to the conduct of the Israeli government in terms of then what they've instructed their armed forces to do in the territory of Gaza is also unimaginably horrific. And yeah, you know, we are not international criminal lawyers, but the case has been put to the International Criminal Court and warrants are out for the arrest of the leaders of the Israeli government with regard to investigating them for the crime of genocide. Their equivalent number on the Hamas side of things, I believe, have died before justice could be done and they could similarly stand trial for their atrocities. Therefore, supporting this motion is not supporting, you know, a certain thing. It's supporting peace. It's supporting reining in the excessive, I think we have to agree, conduct of the Israeli government. And that we should not want to profit effectively from arms companies who are profiting from these atrocities. It's as simple as that. Israel has a right to exist. It simply has a right to exist. It has a right to defend itself, as do all sovereign nations. What's missing in the Middle East is the right to self-determination for the Palestinian people so that they can live in peace and security. Because until both sides, if you like, in the state, in that area of the world, are living in peace and security, then the world is a mess. We know how hard it is with other conflicts, and divesting and sanctioning works. We saw it in South Africa. Remember, believed to be intractable and impossible. Nothing is possible. Everything is impossible until it is possible. And supporting this motion is one small way that we can help nudge the government of Israel to the peace table and resolve this with no more killing on either side. Please support. Thank you.
Chair.
Denver.
Hello.
There is one chair in this meeting, and he's sitting in the chamber. Okay, I can do without you contributing and telling me how to do it. Okay, thank you, Dan. Councillor Mann.
Thank you, Presiding Member. This is a very difficult subject, and again, I respect everyone's opinion, even if I don't agree with it. That on the pension fund situation, there's been an ERI committee on Torvine Pension Fund for many years. That's the ethical and responsible investment. Maybe they should give an opinion on the nuclear issue as well, but that's a different matter.
We passed there.
It's not about people living here. This is not criticising people living here. It's criticising the Israeli government. And my understanding is that probably the majority of people in Israel do not support the Israeli government. So, you know, it's a very difficult situation. According to responsible news media, the number of contracts granted by the government to supply for British companies to supply arms to Israel has gone from 300 and something and is risen by over 100 to, I think it's about 480. And that is in the last 12 months. That includes a contract to supply, I think it was 40,000 bullets. I'm not sure what you do with bullets apart from kill people. You know, it is about the actions of the Israeli government. And it amazes me that a government that represents a people who suffered as they did in the Second World War can carry out genocide on other people. It is absolutely incredible that they can do that. And it's a very small clique within Israel who have managed to hold on to power, who are doing this. And anything that we can do to stop this happening, I will fully support.
Okay,
thank you, Presiding Member.
Okay, we've got two more people I'm not going to take any more after the two. Then I'll go back to Charlotte just to wind up as she put the notes of motion forward. Councillor Elizabeth Davis.
Can we just clarify so that everybody knows what they're voting on? We're not voting against Jewish people. It's not an anti-Semitic vote. It's against the policies of the Israeli government, and it is to support people who are suffering. It's as basic as that. We're not being anti-Semitic. We're not stopping people going to football matches or anything else like that. It is against the policies of the Jewish government, or the Israeli government, I should say, sorry. The rest is irrelevant.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Finally, Councillor Brenda Miles.
Thank you. I wouldn't support this motion if I thought it could in any way be construed as anti-Semitic. It's the scale of devastation and the huge loss of life in the conflict. To a great extent, the Palestinians, but also the Israelis, let's not forget. This is what shocked the world. It's the scale of it. It's what's going on there now. And you cannot stand as an impartial observer in the face of a genocide. We have to support this motion.
Okay, right. I'll go back to Councillor Bishop, who said she'll briefly just close the debate.
Really, really quickly. Okay. Number one, regarding the Jewish people, I am not ashamed to say I am a Spurs fan, and anyone who knows football will know what I'm talking about.
Rubbish.
Okay. Okay. This obviously was supposed to come to us in September, but I genuinely feel that today is a day that a motion like this was meant to come across. Today is the 11th day of the 11th month, and 107 years ago we said never again. And that wasn't religious, that wasn't colour or any other reason other than the atrocities we've seen during the world wars, some against the Jewish people. But I want to say again, we've all stood this weekend, we stood today in silence, and we've said never again. And this motion, in good conscience, as a human being for humanity, we can say never again. We cannot vote against this. And I will say this regardless of where I am in the world, and I do respect everybody's opinion, but I will always support people over profit. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go to the recommendation now, which is on 3.1. Council is asked to consider the notice of motion as outlined in paragraphs 5.1 and 5.2 and make an appropriate recommendation. Mr. Tranter.
Many thanks, Presiding Member. Members, if you could please cast your vote on whether you're for or against the notice of motion on the poll that's before you now. Anybody having any difficulty, please let me know and I'll record your vote. Councillor Hayden Pritchard. For, thank you. Councillor Shaw Morgan, thank you. For, yeah. Councillor Denver Priest. Sorry, you're on mute, Denver. Is that for?
Yep, yeah, got it now. For, please.
For, that's noted, thank you. Therefore, Presiding Member, the notice of motion is comfortably carried. Thank you.
Okay then, thank you very much. We move on to item 17, Mayor's announcements. Mayor.
Thank you. My turn. I'll be quick. This time we've got the civic diary engagements as an attachment to the agenda. I've also emailed all councillors sort of a mayor's newsletter sort of thing with pictures of everything that's been happening. More than a month, obviously, because we had the last council delayed. I just want to, all I've got to say really is it is a joy to be able to go out in the community as mayor representing the council. I'm really enjoying meeting all the people and all the different things that are going on. And if anybody's got any questions for me, just let me know. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Item 18, to receive petitions under rule of procedure. Councillor Kevin Etheridge, see you got about four petitions.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. I'll be quite brief. The first one is a joint meeting of town councillors and in regard the charter signed by various town councillors from Riskertown, Bargood, Nelson, Van, Massicummer, New Tredegar and Blackwood. They feel that the charter with the town council in many areas is not being sort of engaged properly. The second one is regarding the BMX track in Blackwood. There's already been discussions with Jonathan Davis and Mike Headington in regarding cutting back the bushes and brambles. It's on council land. They were told originally they need a planning application and now apparently they don't. The third petition, tomorrow at planning, there's an application on a HMO at Albany Road in Blackwood. There's already an 172 name petition and 80 letters of objection, and this was given to me today, another 128 names, and the petition is on planning grounds against sort of highways and the pedestrian access. And finally, this is the 2,500 name petition on car parking charges, and it's signed by traders from all over asking for the first hour to be free.
Okay, quickly,
Thank you.
Cabinet Member for Social Services, and then, hang on, Kev, just, do you want to answer?
Thank you, Presiding Member. It's been a very long day today, as. With regards to the petition regarding the charter, I'm the chair of Van Community Council. That has not come before my council at any point for us to sign. If it has been signed, it's been signed by an individual member, not the council.
Okay, Councillor Leonard Stenner, quickly.
Yeah, exactly the same observation from myself and New Tredegar.
All right, then. Do you want to fetch him forward?
Questions now, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much. No, they're not. No. It's not very nice, Kevin.
Okay, we'll move on then to item 19, to receive and answer questions received under Rule of Procedure 10.2. Councillor Anne Gare, can you ask your question to the Leader of Council?
Yeah, thank you, Presiding Member. Could I ask the Leader of the Council to provide an update regarding service pressures to the authority? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gay. The Council is currently forecasting service pressures of approximately 35 million for the 26-27 financial year. These pressures will need to be addressed through a combination of funding from the local government settlement, potential increases in council tax and savings proposals. Key elements contributing to the forecast include £8 million arising from the one-off use of reserves and temporary savings in the 25-26 budget, which must be replaced in 26-27. £9 million in projected pay growth based on a 3% uplift, also reflects unfunded national insurance increase, the unbudgeted position in 25-26 pay award and the removal of the spinal column .2. Additionally, the foundational living wage has increased from £12.60 to £13.45, requiring a review of other pay structures. £11 million in non-pay inflationary pressures based on a 2% uplift for most contracts, higher increases are expected in social services, IT services and waste collection contracts, and £7 million in unavoidable service pressures, including rise in demand and cost for temporary accommodation and home-to-school transport, increased capital financing costs, anticipated growth in the council tax reduction scheme, shortfalls in industrial portfolio income and undeliverable savings. Thank you, Presiding Member.
Okay, and finally, well, Anne, is there a supplementary question to the Leader?
No, thank you.
Okay, and finally, item 20, to receive and answer questions received under Rule of Procedure 10.3. Councillor Kevin Etheridge, can you ask your question?
Could the Cabinet Member please give a statement on the money and staff costs saved in the council, and a breakdown in each directorate compared to over 2 million spent employing consultants on the transformation agenda and 7 million on agency staff, and whether they feel this is value for money.
Councillor Stenner.
Thank you, Presiding Member. A total of £15,470,000 in permanent savings proposals have been identified through the transformation programme. These have received the necessary approvals, either through budget setting process, separate cabinet decisions or management decisions, and are scheduled to be delivered over the period 24-25 to 29-30. As of the November 2025 Bragg assessment, £6,590,000 of these savings have already been delivered. The remainder is assessed as deliverable within the planned timeframe. These are recurring savings, meaning that they will continue to generate financial benefits annually. The cumulative permanent savings are projected to reach £72,167,000 by 2029-30. New projects are also being developed through the transformation programme and will be brought forward in due course. In addition, other budget saving proposals have been approved or planned through the budget setting and medium-term financial plan process. These are reported through the programme to ensure a single coordinated view of change. The total permanent budget savings over the period 24-25 to 29-30 currently stands at £37,776,000. A detailed breakdown of savings by directorates and by project is available. In regard to the query around the agency staff, these are used to maintain service delivery. In this regard, it should be noted that agency staff are used for a variety of reasons, including sickness cover, seasonal spikes in workload, covering large frontline services such as waste collection during peak leave periods, or to fill gaps where recruitment to permanent posts has not been possible. The costs, circa £7 million. These are covered by existing staffing budgets linked to vacant posts or dedicated agency budgets, and the costs are therefore not unbudgeted. Importantly, the use of agency staff can provide flexibility for services in dealing with workloads, peaks and troughs, and relationships with agency providers are crucial to effectively manage frontline services. Consequently, these costs are not part of the transformation programme. Lastly, I respond to the query regarding consultants. £2,128 was spent on consultants supporting the transformation programme. Given the savings delivered, this represents value for money, returning 34 times the cost in cumulative permanent savings. Furthermore, the programme has transformed how we work and the culture of the organisation, helping to ensure the council remains financially sustainable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes this evening's meeting. I would like to thank everyone for attending, and for those in the chamber, please have a safe journey home. Thank you.